it's a different story because a lot of changes will be made.
Yeah, and I hope a lot of the players, or actually not a lot, I hope all of the teams and all of the how do you prepare for these events? And disappointingly, Neptune, the answer that I got was they hop into scrims every day, and they hop into battles every single day. Now, that's not a bad thing, but you really have to understand, what does hopping into scrims and playing every day bring you? It helps you to repair your mechanical skills. It helps you to become a faster player, a better player out there on the battlefield. But what these scrims do not necessarily help you with 100% is your strategy. In order to repair your strategy, you need to study. In order to repair your strategy and perfect it out there on the battlefield, to make sure nobody else has got a inkling as to what you're going to do and how you're going to be able to achieve it, you need to pre-plan your moves before the day of the match. And in fact, this preparation needs to be done a few weeks before, perfected before you even jump into the qualifiers, perfected before you even hit the semifinals and the grand finals. Surprisingly enough, a lot of teams in Garena are not doing this. So hopefully this will be that one point where people stop and think for themselves as, okay, am I going to be approaching the competition a little bit differently? And hopefully once that starts to happen, we are going to be seeing a little bit more of tactics out there on the battlefield. Because for the time being, it's just avoid people as long as we can. When we see them, we shoot them. And although their mechanical skills will be able to bring them far, it's not going to allow them to dominate the world of Call of Duty Mobile. And that's exactly what we want for all of these boys and girls. But let's take a quick look at the tournament format before we do carry on with that conversation, Neptune. Because when we first started this, we had 256 teams who went into multiple battles, all thanks to Paramount Gaming, who were guiding them through all of those matches, keeping an eye on them as well. Multiple teams made it through. Some of them got disqualified halfway through as well. We ended up with 32 teams broken into two groups, semifinals 1 and semifinals 2. 3 days for each of these semifinals. The first 3 days was for Group A, and Group B currently is in their 3-day semifinals. This is second day for Group B, and at the end of it, we will only have 8 teams from each group to move on to the grand finals. It's not going to be a 1-day grand final. It's not going to be a 2-day grand final. It's going to be a triple-decker 3-day grand final, Neptune. That's amazing, actually.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's really a chance for teams to make it out alive and on top. Because if it's a 1-day, like if you have a tactics and didn't work, especially as you only have like known half of the team, battle half of the team from the semifinals, it will be a different story if you take it for 1 day. So good chance for them to tweak a little bit of their tactics in here for all 3 days. But I really love what you mentioned about the story before the tournament format that we have right now, as well as what the teams really need, and they need to do that in their the scrims, probably practicing mechanical skills needs to be done before they jump in onto the qualifiers, and then after that, that is when they do a little bit more of study right there before they jump in from this format that we're looking at right now, AJ.
Yeah, obviously I'm not saying all of the teams in Garena Survivors are not practicing at all. Clearly there is a huge divide between the teams, and that might just be that one thing that separates them, right? Teams that do focus on strategy, and the other teams that are just focusing on scrims and repairing their mechanical capabilities. Although repairing your mechanical capabilities are very important, strategy takes you a longer way. Having good mechanical skills just helps make that whole journey and process so much more easier. One of the teams that have had their strategy pretty sound so far seems like it's Vagabonds Esports as well as Vagabonds Nomads. But that in itself, I try to watch their gameplay. I try to look at their moves. It doesn't seem like their strategy is 100% there. There are still some weaknesses in their strats, but what makes them superior out there on their battlefield is actually their mechanical skills, Neptune. So I believe that if anybody wants to break the hold that the Vagabond squads have on this $10,000 is actually through that strategy. Yes, you might not be able to oust them whenever they've got their third eye open out there on the battlefield. They know exactly how to get you out back into the lobby, but through spectacular strategies, some teams, for example, like AVSG Mystic, they play that strategy extremely well, right? And I want to just see this a little bit more from the team. But looking at the total prize pool, we've got 25,000 as dollars on the line. And the lion's share of that is 500,000 pesos, 10,000 USD, Neptune.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a lot for a team, and if this will be another Vagabonds Esports, and I'm not saying because it's not yet over, we're still in the semifinals, but just in case there will be another championship for them, for just Garena survivors, they have 1 million already, AJ. So hopefully we have a team who will step up, and we've seen that so far, but really damage the tactics that Vagabonds Esports has, so that a lot of teams will have those chance for that prize pool, especially that #1 spot.
Yeah, and looking at that #1 spot, how do you get up there? It's not just by placing in that #1 spot, because even if you can end up at #1 placement with just 2 or 3 kills, your opponents who pick up that second and third place might just be able to outdo you as long as they focus on getting aggressive and skillfully picking up kills, because each and every slay that you get out there on the battlefield will reward you with 1 point per slay. But if you look at the placement points, they have been drastically reduced right after we reduce the number of teams within the competition in itself. The winners, the ones that get #1 spot, they will pull away 10 placement points, 6 placement points for those who place second, -1 for each and every single rank that you get bottom from that, and all the way down to the 7th to 8th spot where you only get 1 point. 9 to 16th, you get absolutely nothing from placements, Neptune.
Yeah, definitely. And as we look at later, we're going to see as well the leaderboards of the past day of the semifinals for this group. We are seeing that most of those getting good placement point are on the top of the leaderboard. So we'll have to find out if they can manage to balance it out, the placement point as well as the kills, because so far this group, AJ, this team is a mix of a different breed, because it's not just a one-team domination that we've seen from yesterday. It's like different teams taking the win and taking that top spot until such time that like we have 2 wins from a specific team, and those who are left at the bottom really are left behind with a lot of points behind.
Yeah, whoever who came up with this list of teams that have qualified for semifinals too seems to be a little psychic as well, right? Because that's the Vagabonds Nomads and Team Dow Conquerors. These are the 2 teams that are currently in your #1 and #2 spot, followed by 4 Kings Aces, who currently hold on to that 3rd place, as well as Almighty Prime in that 4th spot. These are the top 4 teams. But if you look at the supremacy that Vagabonds Nomads, Dow Conquerors, and 4 Kings Aces have brought into the competition, they've managed to put quite a bit of distance between themselves as well as Almighty Prime, who are in that 4th spot. And you've got a list of other teams as well that have qualified. A lot of them bring a little bit of promise, but the teams that I'm looking out for to step up their gameplay in here today, Neptune, will mainly be the Royal Kings, NOOBDLES Gaming FEROX, as well as AxP Mercenaries. Now, I'm not just saying this because these three teams are at dead bottom of the leaderboard, but it's also because they have shown us a little bit of promise. They've shown a little bit of strats out there on the battlefield. They can take some sound moves, but what seems to be lacking here, especially for the Royal Kings, is those hot drops. I really want to see them avoid it this time around, and I want to see them play a much more safer game rather than bashing their heads against the wall trying to get to the other side. Use the door sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not only once that we've seen the Royal Kings jump in with a different team, and even if they switch, they jump into a different area where it is already occupied by a team who at some point can stop them or probably slow them down in their movement. And that's what you don't want to happen, especially in start of a game, because you need to get that momentum to get all the resources that you have, also the objectives from the chip upgrade to the airdrops before heading to battle. And those teams were managed to slide freely. No one in their area, slowly rotating towards that 3rd phase to the last phase. They are the ones surviving with complete squad, as well as a good chance for them to take the win and a lot of kills. So it's more of understanding where the other teams are, rotations of them, but it's not easy. It's not that easy to find out. So that is one reason why we ask you to do it a little bit quicker or a little bit earlier. But being in the semifinals, just in case they get in the top 8, well, they need to move fast, AJ.
Yeah, and moving fast sometimes can be a little bit of a advantage that you can have in the competition, because you got to get to a proper defensive spot based on where that circle brings you, and you need to have already figured out what sort of a path you are going to be taking towards the next circle. Especially when you look at a map like Blackout, where you've got so many of those open spaces, and you've got that very annoying M21 EBR in a lot of hands these days. Long range engagement, they should be able to at the very least tease you. But if anybody brings in, a little bit more firepower, like the Jackal out there in the open space, you're pretty much a sitting duck. So you have to figure out exactly what sort of a pathing you got to be able to take in towards the next circle that is the safest, that can avoid all of those direct shots from the Jackal from up top, as well as all of those sneaky snipers who are constantly on the lookout to take you out of the equation before you even get to that next circle.
Exactly, and it's more of understanding your enemy and understanding yourself and what your capability and capacity to go in battle to each team, especially if you can also check the roles of your team and also prioritize on the skills that you can use, whether on attack or on defense. But enough talk for the teams, and we'd like to see how the games ended for the day number one, because a lot of the viewers out there really, I'm pretty sure, are just jumping in here because from the excitement of yesterday. Yes, they might have seen a few of the clips or probably a few parts of the video. They're just jumping in here to see more excitement. And the leaderboard there is, we have Vagabonds Esports and Team Dow Conquerors, as AJ mentioned, on the top two of this rank.
NASA Vanguard already has your goggles, Neptune. Look at their logo there, right? You gotta love it, man. Vagabonds Nomads currently conquering the leaderboard after not winning a single match yesterday throughout the 5 games. On that very final match, they stole away the 10 placement points and proved to everyone that not only can they slay, but they can also find those placements. But Vagabonds Nomads, just like their brothers Vagabonds Esports, need to remember that we have got our eyes on them, just like how every single other team out there is watching them extremely closely, trying to read all of their plays, trying to read all of their strategies. And it's just before time where someone manages to find a little bit of an inkling as to how to break them down. Dow Conquerors seems to have a little bit of that answer already, Neptune, but a little bit better than Vagabonds Nomads themselves. What Dow Conquerors has been yesterday is absolutely consistent. Maybe not as crazy as Vagabonds Nomads when it comes to the kill stats, but they're always towards the top 5 in each and every single round. Yes, one of those rounds they did kind of accidentally bomb out, but apart from that, just supreme consistency coming through from these boys. 4 Kings Aces, they were kind of riddled with a bout of inconsistency yesterday. If day 2 can be slightly more consistent, then there is a high probability that they will be on that number 1 spot, no doubt whatsoever. Almighty Prime, a team that was ultimately dominant when we came over to Garena Survivor Season 1, seems a little nerfed this time around, but it might just be that first day jitters for them. And NRX 432, I am shocked to see them on that 5th spot, because they truly were not showing up at all in day number 1. It was a lot of weak showing from them, but them sitting down on that 5th place shows us that they do have a little bit of promise, even after being quite shaky on day number 1. ABC Mystic, on the other hand, the best hope that MYSG has for the grand finals of Garena Survivors 2, and they are doing one heck of a job out there, and it looks like the team is not going to be letting MYSG down anytime soon. And after game number 1, remember what I told you, they just needed to build that confidence, and after they build that confidence, they will truly be feared out there on the battlefield. And then we started seeing them in the final circle time and time again. That was not because of me, that was purely because of that confidence that they did manage to build, starting off from factory, winning those gunfights extremely well, and then just tethering it and tying it up together with getting into that final circle very safely, Neptune.
Yeah, definitely. And I really love how the progress of ABC Music is doing. Like from the first season of Korean Survivors, they had to wait 1 day before we've seen great progression. And if I'm not mistaken, they're the bottom 15 or 16 of the group by the end of day number one. This time, they're improving top six in here. And what more can they offer with a whole full day of rest wherein they were going to battle these teams once again? They made a study and as well as made the adjustment that they need. But as we look at the flight path right now coming in from Harbor to Heat, this is one thing, AJ, that really troubles some of the team because they already set some their drop spot on the lower part of this map. But with this long flight, it might be cut short later on.
Let's see exactly what sort of a problem that flight path is going to be bringing to some of these players, right? Docks, on the other hand, will be taken by the players of Alibaba Clan Anonymous, and we can see Four Kings Aces as usual shooting towards Spear, and because of how crazy that flight path is, they couldn't even get into New Vision City, and that is going to be their plan number one. Get into New Vision City, focus on taking all of those high-tier loots, but the players of NASA, they this time round do not go in for those jackals and are immediately punished by CV1. 2 kills already, and I believe there was 1 knock earlier on. This seems to be quite the big blow for them. Pee-wee just beyond that wall. Bryans might be able to take him out of the equation. Has got a Jack and a Swordfish in his hand. This is going to be trouble for the NASA squad. Oh, wow.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we have Kimson and they're real being taken down in this fight, but it's still 2 members in here trying to go into Yupawi. Now, this is more of the movement of CV1 to a different drop spot, though NASA usually drops in this area, but CV1 main usually are caught in a crossfire against Team Dow Conquerors. So this is the day wherein Tito Ming as well as the rest of the teams will try a different approach, and with this domination of Harbor, I think they will take it time after time, round after round for this game. So we'll have to find out where NASA will be landing later on.
Time after time. NRX 432 takes down the Butcher yet again. As expected, no one's going to their compound to challenge them just yet. But, you know, that's going to be something. It's good to have a consistent drop spot, and it's also going to come through with some of its weaknesses as well. Because once some teams start to aim for your head, then it gets a little bit easier for them to figure out exactly where they can go to find you. But I prefer for teams to have their permanent drop spot so that they don't really shake things up all too many times. And with NRX 432 choosing farm, regardless of the location of the flight path, you're almost always going to be able to be guaranteed that flight into or that glide straight into Farm Neptune. So that's a very smart pick by the players of NRX 432.
Exactly. It's also 3 levels of area in there. So regardless if anyone drops in with them, they can choose where to start and later on take that Butcher for themselves if they survive the battle. But so far, no one has taken farm at this point. But compared to that, Royal King still challenging Almighty, but not for long. Because Royal Kings are just going in for a joyride in the cable car right now. And it's a good thing that they didn't stay that much. They might have teased like Almighty Prime right here, but not getting enough loot from that area really is a waste of time as we see them get away. And as we look at Almighty, they're ready and even prepared to go and challenge NICAEA Kings.
Yeah, Matui from afar, Frosh taken down, Jack still popping off. Chibi has got that exact gun alongside the M21. And Chibi has got their range to work with here, not too far, just the perfect level of range before that bullet starts to dip a little bit too much. Vagabonds Nomads, on the other hand, Walby just very cheeky as Ice takes down Virus just before he tagged up one of his partners, and the rest of the Nomads drop by to say hello. Smoke drop. Ooh. Travis shuts down Deb. I don't even know where he shot him from.
Yeah, I mean, from the roof, I believe, because of the chopper landing there. But Travis right now and S are going in for the hit into the smoke, into the thick of it. They still manage to get those knocks.
I don't know how he did that, man. Like I said, the players of Vagabonds, their third eye is open. Nobody's a match for them. Royals, they get the heck out of there. Ice Death, all of them in pain. Only one final survivor. Claudia drops by. Almighty Prime wants to snuff out Vagabonds Nomads. SA with his snowboard gets out of there as quickly as possible, leaving Almighty to guard the dog tags of Team 9. This one was just a crazy attack by the Vagabonds Nomads, and as usual, they astound me with what they can do out there on the battlefield. Smoke or not, you are toast.
Yeah, I mean, walls or not, they're cooking, and we'll have to find out how much they can cook in this game. But Almighty right now, I mean, they stole a little bit of those kills on the knocks that has been done by Vagabonds Nomads. So I don't know how will be the revenge of Vagabonds Nomads in here, because I know that they need or want those kills in this game. For Royal Kings, like, it's more of how they can adjust on the next match, because so far the rotation after taking a challenge by Almighty Prime is really not working for them. Imagine only one left in this game, and looking at how they challenge Vagabonds Nomads, it is not even a whole squad. It's only virus in there that they take down. The moment everyone else comes back and far back, that is when they will take him down.
Yeah, and HGE now on our screens. Let's see what the D11 Kratos has got in store for us. A quick drop by the airdrop. Always gonna serve you up with goodies, especially with those golden mods that just make your gun so very powerful. That's a legal hack in the game, Neptune. I mean, especially when you get that additional mod to extend your mag, especially when you get the ones to control your recoil as well. You can continuously shoot down your barrel, and you do not have to worry about any kickback from the gun whatsoever. Mid-range, long range, you are going to be a slayer, depending on what sort of a mod that you can pick up. But at the same time, these airdrops are also a good hotspot. It's like dropping a candy in the middle of an ant farm and just watching all of them go crazy, right? But in this particular scenario, HGED 11 Kratos seems to have gotten extremely lucky. Nobody came by to see exactly what they've got in store, and they get all of the goodies all for themselves.
Yeah, they got all the goodies there, but Winter's not getting a little bit of Christmas on their side, because 3 of their teammates are dead, and instead of the Jackal will be riding and flying with that motorcycle. It's in smokes right now, so I don't know as to where he will be heading, and I think he will try to get the Jackal just to get the dog tags of their teammates. But from above, coloring it green and red, we are seeing HGE Cranes right now trying to take hits, but on their side, they also have a team. It's NOOBDLES Gaming, FEROX. With the performance of NOOBDLES Gaming is not so much, but I think this time, just in case they meet up with HGE, they need to put up a fight, because they need the scores for this day number 2, AJ.
HGE, Elves, all of them pretty stacked already with that airdrop that they've hit. But as you can see, the players of NRX 432 are stacked as well. They have got their chips upgraded, and they also have got to each and every single one of them that kinetic armor overcharger, and they've got 200 on their armor. And there's nothing much for them to worry about if they get caught out in the open, but they cannot play their chances all that too easy. Now, from across the field, the players of Conquerors will come across the one and only NOOBDLES Gaming, who have the high ground advantage. But NOOBDLES Gaming haven't been that threatening in the competition so far, and especially against the Conquerors. I'm not so sure this will be a good idea if they start to open fire. So the best things that the NOOBDLES Gaming squad can do right now is to stay as quiet as possible and allow everyone to just pass by them and continue focusing on those loots, Neptune.
Yeah, or probably they can tease both teams of Almighty and the Conquerors to make them battle, and then just watch them from above. I mean, there's one thing that they can do, an advantage really for them, just in case like they are wounded and all down, then they can take and kill or steal all those kills. But it depends on how it will end and who will be surviving that battle. But it's an opportunity that they can take just in case they can do it.
It's a 3-way fight between the 4 Kings CB1 and the ABC Mystic clan. But Let's see if we can catch up with that. Thank you very much, observers. Hyun, opportunity now from up top. Doesn't have the SMRS. Who was it that did the SMRS earlier on? Negi, I believe. Yes, and Negi strikes once again. Ju taken out of the equation. The first one was a knock. The second one that you just saw on your screen, that was the final kill. And the players of ABC Mystic, they back away as quickly as they can. They want nothing to do with the Four Kings. They know that this team is ferocious. They know that this team is hungry for slays before they get into that final circle. But AOB, here comes the Academy of Brothers. And I don't know if this was planned, but they better change their plans because the Four Kings are hungry, Neptune.
Yeah, they are hungry right now, and they might be defeated. Ihu and Paquito in here being gatekept by Negi and
nice.
Instinct. But here comes Kyun right now in the follow-up. And, I love the rotation of that one member from the Four Kings going in for the flank and trying to stop them for the approach. But Paquito is now being left outside and moving a little bit further into the blue zone. So this is not a good exit for the Instinct in there, instinctively going in and taking down Paquito with a few shots, and from afar, Ihu almost being taken down.
Yep, Instinct instinctually just managing to grab a couple of shots on Ihu. And here comes Instinct now. Slides away. Ihu turns around for the challenge. No rewind coming through. He bugged out. Instinct trying to stay alive after on that reload with the Jack still shuts down Ihu. That's the prowess of the Four Kings. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you're enjoying the show, do not forget to hit that like and make sure you share the broadcast as well so that we can call the rest of the community in here to see exactly what dominance looks like in CODM VR.
Four Kings are really showing up compared to what we'd expect, that they are just the aces. I'm not saying just the aces. The aces and not the main team, but the showing that they have right now is comparable with the main team. They are in a fight all the time and they are winning it, this time surviving even with the drop on that chopper. Now they need to run and run so far as to where and how long can they take them. We'll have to find out, because NRX 420 will be in the battle against Vagabonds Nomads, and Glad right now starting it off.
Yeah, 4-3-2 now. Glad, unfortunately, triggers a couple of those traps, gets slowed down. Travis eats them up. Ryujin takes Joko. NRX 4-3-2 about to be toast. Now, Mother Nature cannot help him. Halo drops Travis. Keys get straightened out by Virus. And this is a GGWP. Virus, final one as he runs through all of those players. I don't think NRX 4-3-2 has any more standing in here. But slowly but surely, here comes the Conquerors. Vagabonds Nomads. Where you gonna run? How you gonna hide? They don't even need to do anything. The Conquerors take a right turn towards the other side, and the Nomads are left out there on the battlefield. A little unfortunate for NRX 4-3-2 to run into the Nomads so early in the matchup.
Yeah, and the split that NRX 4-3-2 has is a 1-3 split with the few or most of the members left behind. So the push right now of Clyde is not really that well against 3 members of the Nomads. And I think the exit of the Conquerors as well, the moment they approach, is more into getting a gatekeep position to get against different teams. So far, they are heading in the middle of the next safe zone and getting for a high ground, I believe, because this is a good advantage for them. It is now Fast and Furious as they step on this gas, and we'll have to find out where these stop, because Killhouse will occupy a different team, and this is from Team P, AxP Mercenaries.
I have a challenge for the audience. I have a challenge for the community. If you are a fan of the Four Kings, you see that little number on the top left-hand corner. When you're watching this on Facebook, you can see 2K. Who are you supporting, 2K or 4K? Bring those shares through. If you can hit 4K, I almost guarantee you, by the time we reach the end of the day, the boys will make sure they are in that #1 spot. And believe me when I say, when it comes out of the mustachio's mouth, it usually happens. So hit that share. Let's bring in a bigger audience to check out exactly how they will make their journey up towards the top. ABC, Mystic. Earlier on, they had 2 of their players taken out of the equation. One went down in the hands of the Four Kings. The other one, I don't know exactly who took him down, but they're all right back in the mix. Unfortunately, 3 of their players do not have those upgrades yet. So getting into an engagement now might just mean death, Neptune.
Yeah, and they need to step in a little bit too far from the other team. The chase is on because the parachute has been sighted, and knowing the other teams right here, especially the Conquerors, they will take advantage of that situation. And as you can see, chasing them on is the Conquerors, and regardless of where it's high ground or low ground, the rewind information has been gathered and relayed, and attack is on.
Oh, geez. Good knockdown onto Lexus. Conquerors, spotting Mystic. Rogue, can he get away? The kickback. A beautiful rewind as well by Enra. And Ju gets caught out in the open, but Enra has to reload at the worst of moments. Chillop taken down. Sekre drops by with a jack, and beautiful shutdown one after the other. The Conquerors conquering Mystic, and it looks like the Alibaba clan have got no other choice but to turn tail and run. They haven't gotten those upgrades just yet. Like I said, Neptune, if they don't have those upgrades, the fight just gets so much more difficult. Sacred now, final spot. The tank blocks the spot, and Dream hopping on into the tank. Can he get away? No, he cannot. Yes, he does, and the tank is blown up. Dre gets the shot. This is just a mess for the ABC Mystic squad.
With a jack, the tag just looked like paper, and they're being taken down a little bit too easy. And that is a Dream being taken down. Left with only Rogue. Well, we'll have to find out what placement they're getting, because as we can see, Rogue will not be able to do that much, because onto this fourth phase, Dark Tags will be useless, so Enra will not be able to let that go, and that is an elimination possibly for the ABC Mystics. I'll have to find out what will happen as we look into the four kings right now, and they are gathering the kills.
Yeah, and Nagy from up top. Four kings earlier on, they were kind of nerfed it with the approach, and one could wish that, the same thing is with NRX 432 as well, because they kind of just got caught with the Nomads earlier on, and unfortunately they couldn't get away from the situation. But here comes the players of VVV. Enra, the Conquerors have got their eyes on ABC, and this is not ABC Mystic, but ABC Anonymous. Ozai slides away, but the number's too many. Bye-bye, Ozai. Back to the lobby. You have to get turned into a dog tag, but Ozai turns things around. Dre trades him out. Ozai, good stand.
Yeah, it's almost elimination for Sekre in there, and it's a good thing Dre is in there as well, and the pickup is on, and there we have it. One of the members of Anonymous has been taken down, one has been left behind. But speaking of Jack, a lot of players has been using this, and right now, frightening the A AxP Kratos from behind, and Otizi will be eliminated by the safe zone. Now, Pixie and Void will be taken down by Instinct, and 7 kills already for this team, AJ.
Yep, Instinct with their engagement against Void and the players of Four Kings. 8 kills up already, but this is just all-out chaos. They have got the very edge of this hill to play around with defensively, but Almighty Prime approaches from the back. So the Four Kings, if they don't start moving now, things might just get a little bit too crazier for them. They have to take that higher ground. They have to turn things around, and Almighty Prime actually backs away against them at the very final moment. This is that opportunity. God's hands itself interfering for the Four Kings, and Almighty will not be their next challenge, and therefore they can push on through. Noobles Gaming, the next one to take down. They are going to be easy picking by the way they've been playing the competition so far. Chibi, very sneaky, goes in for a quick loot, hits that rewind, and backs away. But Fright knows exactly where to look. He's running straight towards them. Is that a wrong move? We will find out in a little bit, as the Conquerors now take that high ground advantage. 10 kills in so far. They're just slicing down one after the other, Neptune.
Oh my goodness, Noobdle's Gaming has no chance to live. 4G's the only one remaining in this game, and there goes the hit, and Alex will be taken down as well. Sekre for the finishing touch. We are now left with 5 teams, but when looking at it, we still have Vagabonds Vagabonds and Nomads on the middle of everyone else, and this is most likely a good plan of approach for them, because as we've seen, no one escapes from their side. Even Almighty on the side might be taken down in here by this team of the Nomads, AJ.
Yeah, One grenade here by Nomads. Oh, Chase has no chance. Virus just ultimately steady. And look at the golden mob that he has there just to protect some of the kickback from the gun. No recoil whatsoever. Virus on fire. Fright shuts down Esser. That's a big kill. Now, Virus, the only player left in here. Not a lot of armor. Not a lot of HP. Pops a smoke. Has got the rewind to play around with. T.E.A.M. His knees are all right today, but no slay so far. Pulls out the PKM. Can he get anything out of it? Hits the rewind. Zachary responds, and Zachary gets snagged up instead. T.E.A.M. still trying to get something ball out there, but nothing seems to be going his way, Neptune.
Yeah, T.E.A.M is more of kids attack. I'm here for backup. But hopefully that will work for them. But unfortunately, it didn't because T.E.A.M is the last one. Oh no, T.E.A.M was able to take down Dre into the battle. Now it is now left the 4 Kings and the Conquerors, and the 4 Kings right now. Indra, run, baby, run, because the 4 Kings is after you. Sacred will be taken down, and there goes the 4 Kings taking this game.
What did I say, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Keep hitting that share if you want to see the 4 Kings Aces rise up to the top, to that #1 spot. And I tell you, if you can make that viewership go up to 4,000, the 4 Kings Aces, they're going to guarantee you guys that #1 spot. Bring that fire and bring in the support that the 4 Kings usually get out there on the battlefield. Supreme action this time around, Neptune, and they were perfect with each and every single engagement, focusing on the loots first, focusing on that high tier loot zone, focusing on getting all of that kinetic armor overcharger, and through instinct, his instinctual touch out there on the battlefield, the battles were just so perfect for this team, managing to wrap up this game with 24 massive points. But the Conquerors, they were not far behind. They got a total of 15 kills alongside 6 points from placements, and that is 21, just 3 points below the 4 Kings, which is extremely impressive. And look at the Vagabonds Nomads, making sure no matter what, they don't take their foot off the gas pedal. They've stacked up the number of kills on their side as well. They've got a total of 16 kills alongside 5 points, and that is once again 21 points. They've equalized with the Conquerors, which means they will stay a step above them still on that overall leaderboard.
Yeah, and looking at this picture, this really shows us how much the kills can really translate as well to the placement, because the number of kills that they can make in the game can bring them closer to that top spot. And with the top 3 AJ, a lot of kills on them, and then following them, not so much. So it's more of mechanical skills and survivability for this team on the top, and for those trying to follow, they need to make it do. So far, CB1 main in there is able to take 5 kills in this game, and on a 4th place, good amount of placement point, but too much with the kills would be Almighty Prime. A little bit more, 1 point above CB1 main in here in 5th spot, but Noodles Gaming right now making a move on that placement. Even with 2 points in there, they still managed to get a placement point with addition for the kills that they have. ABC Mystic AJ on number 7 spot, though Chelop's the only one remaining, but because of the situation that they have in there, they didn't get so much onto the kills as well as surviving for long. But it's a good showing for them at this point. At least they're not the bottom.
As long as they can build up slowly, little by little, and make sure by the time we get to the 3rd day of the semis, they can be in the top 8, that's going to be good enough already. Because, you know, the supremacy that the Philippines has got in Call of Duty Mobile is unparalleled at the moment. And, you know, there's just something missing in this Mystic squad. I don't know what is it, but they need to figure it out. If they can't figure it out, they're free to drop me a message. We can figure it out together, because MYSG has been struggling for long enough, man. Someone needs to do something about it, and I really feel like the Mystic squad are those people, but it's just not translating out there on the battlefield. You see, the 7th place gets you a single placement point. With the 1 kill that Chelop has brought into this matchup, that's just 2 points from game number 1. That's most definitely going to hurt the brand, no doubt whatsoever. AxP Mercenaries, they don't seem like a mercenary out there on the battlefield this time around. No slays with a single placement point pulled away. HGE pulled away nothing. Team 15 AxP Kratos, you know, the God of War, is famed for being able to go to war and take on anyone. But what Void and Matui brought in was just the 4 kill points. And apart from that, absolutely nothing else. ABC Anonymous, on the other hand, Ozai had a great opportunity to turn things around, but it only amounted to a knock, not even a kill against the Conquerors. Ozai managed to get the knock, immediately traded out. A little unfortunate. NASA, I expected this team to hop on out of that initial flight and immediately focus on their Jackal plays once again, because although I did bring up this point, and we did discuss it yesterday multiple times, that the Jackal wasn't the perfect weapon or wasn't the perfect vehicle to secure kills, but it was still getting them the placement points, Neptune. It was still getting them into the top 5 very consistently, you know. And in 2 of the games, I believe, the Jackal managed to get them in the name of Winter that second placement, because he was constantly up in the air and finally managing to just give his life over to the zone in itself. So although the Jackal isn't really the best of weapons for them to slay, if NASA identifies that they cannot really fight against the other teams when it comes to those gunfights, you got to play the game of survival. You got to sneak yourself into the grand finals, because there's just a little bit of moolah left there for you, right? Everybody gets a slice of the pie at the grand finals. If you bomb out at the semis, you're not going to get anything out of it. And nobody else can actually outplay you on the Jackal. You guys are the best pilots in the game already, so you have to make good use of that. But you have to find a good balance between the abusing of the Jackal versus getting a couple of kills on your side as well. What's that answer? I don't know. That's for them to figure out a little bit later on. NRX 432, it was a great start. We talked about this, you know, heading on into farm, making sure they take the butcher down, getting those high tier loot. But the navigation from compound to compound, this is something that NRX 432 needs to focus on. They cannot be left out there on the open field. When they come across a team like, you know, the Conquerors or Nomads or 4 Kings, it gets immediately complicated, right? Unfortunately, they couldn't really run away all that too far. They got shut down prematurely now.
Yeah, and as we look at, we have AOB, Academy of Brothers, right now jumping in with 3 members, and they met death a little bit too early. who on the other hand was able to get 1 kill in this game, but not so much. Same as Royal Kings in there. We've told them already. We called them out already not to drop to a hot drop, but this time they're still doing the same thing compared to NICAEA. Kings still have 2 points in there at the bottom. It's a little bit like 1 point higher from the Royal Kings, and we'll have to see if these teams from the bottom of this first round will be able to make the adjustment, because adjustment they need for them to really move up, AJ.
Yeah, and you know, for them to move up, it's going to take a lot more, not just the kill points, but the placements as well. They really need to fix some of their strategy. That's the conversation we took at the very start of this broadcast. And I hope that's something that, you know, not just them, but every single team out there, even from semifinals 1, you know, teams like NRX 420 who have so much of promise, you know, they are depending too much on their mechanical skills. They're depending too much on the fact that Pabi can slay, Blink can slay whenever they go out there into regular scrims. But it's not about slaying. When you drop into the pro scene, it's a lot dependent on your strategies of how to maneuver yourself into compound after compound, looking for that final circle. When you get into that final circle, what sort of position you hold on to, what sort of a high ground advantage can you make use of, what sort of weaponry you have on your side to make good use of the, you know, that high ground advantage that you've got. You know, it's all of these little bits of things compiled together that gives you that supreme points at the end of the day. The 4 Kings, if you ask me, played it superbly well, right? And this time they didn't take the high ground advantage. What they did was they knew the edge of the circle was behind them, and they used the edge of the hill right in front of them as a little bit of cover. So that just reduces the number of places they have to look. They either have to look left or they have to look right. They send out the one and only rewind player to attack this spot, which has got more players. And when Vagabonds Nomads was approaching from the back, or was it Conquerors? I forgot already. They just sent one guy to keep an eye on that area. That is the kind of strategy I'm talking about here that's so important for the teams to play.
Exactly, especially when we've seen that some of the teams who are taking the high ground are mostly being taken down as well, because not a lot of people, like from the first season, not a lot of people are looking up. But this time, everyone's looking up, and that is one thing that they can avoid, taking the higher ground and moving in from the sides, making sure their backs are covered, and also only a little bit of entry point for their approach. But the Four Kings Aces this time for round number 1, taking this win, and it's a good start for the Four Kings.
Yeah, and a great start for the Four Kings. But remember yesterday, we saw a bout of inconsistency from the Four Kings. This is something that they cannot afford to strike them once again. We need to see supreme consistency out of the Four Kings. We need to see them play this sort of a strategy again and again and again.
Exactly. And that's one thing that we really need to work on. Consistency as we jump in yet 2 more maps or 2 more matches in Isolated. And Isolated day number 1 was a little bit rough for everyone. But this time, I think it's more finesse for some of the teams.
Yes.
Because a lot of teams has already found out their rotation, great
Correct.
location as well in the drop spot, and good domination for the team. So hopefully, a lot more will be seen from this teams from round number 2 and round number 3, because so far, a lot of teams will be in the line, and this is a good start for them to really move up and take those points in this semifinals, AJ.
Yep. And, in terms of picking up more points, they will have to wait for round number 2, but that can only happen after a quick, short break.
行くぞ。見つけろ。ニュービジョンシティでの重要任務に関する通達を受け取った。行くわよ。うわ、楽しみ。行くわよ。かしこまる。手を貸せ。
あれは何なんだ。
こいつもポストヒューマンなのか。トゲさん。
何やってんだ。
スイッチブレード起動しました。これでも食らえ。 い。そうささやくのよ、私のゴーストも。
立ちこま援護しろ。その調子だ、立ちこま。お前はよくやってるよ。
でしょ？パートナーさんは分かってるな。
本当のことだ。
アーバントラッカー会いたかったよ。
ニュービジョンシティでの重要任務に関する通達を受け取った。行くわよ。
うわ、楽しみ。
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. This is Garena Survivor Season 2 Legacy, brought to you by Call of Duty Mobile. And so far, the first round is over, and the Four Kings has taken that against everyone else. But that is just the start of this day, and a lot of things might be happening. But something that will not be changing is us casters. We are your casters and hosts. I'm Neptune the Gem Garcia, and together with me is the voice of Garena Call of Duty Mobile, the Mustachio AJ.
Thank you for the introduction, Neptune. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Thank you, community, for all of those shares. Before we made that shout out, we had about 40 shares, and now we are standing at 253. I wonder if we can get up to 4K shares, right? Because, you know, we were talking about it, and it's the power of manifestation, Neptune. The moment we started talking about the Four Kings winning, they just bounced right up to the top. And it wasn't a easy situation for them to get up to the top, right? A little bit of luck needed to be played in that moment as well. Why? Mainly because if at all Almighty Prime had continued to push down the line where they were initially pushing towards that final circle, done deal, Vagabonds Nomads would have been on the other side. You would see the Conquerors on the other side of the hill as well. And the players of Four Kings would have gotten flushed out. They would have been attacked from both sides by many, many strong players, many strong teams. They wouldn't have stood a chance. Little bit of luck sometimes goes your way. And that's exactly what the Four Kings made good use of. But even before that luck was played on their side, you could see the strategy from the Four Kings. The side of the hill, one of the safest places that you can play, as opposed to the strategy that the Vagabonds Nomads or Vagabonds Esports, I have to say, usually plays. The highest spot on whichever location they go to. Now, when you take that high ground location, you are exposed 360, and that is a problem sometimes. And that's exactly what Riley Esports used against them, Neptune, on the semifinals one.
Definitely, and when you have but because we mentioned that Vagabonds Esports had been unpredictable so far, but at that point they have been predicted, and we've seen that so many times. Even Riley Esports saw that and took advantage, exploited that weakness, but not the Four Kings. They know that that is one thing that they can change, and they change it being at the lower. If I'm not mistaken, they're the ones in the lowest part of that hill. But so far, being in the lowest part of the hill, bringing you the top of that leaderboard is really a feat that Four Kings has shown right now. But let's check out what the leaderboard has to offer right here, as we have seen at the end of round number 1, AJ.
Yeah, although the Four Kings Aces did pretty well in that round, the Conquerors and Nomads did extremely well as well. We talked about how there was just a difference of 3 points between the Four Kings Aces and the Conquerors. And when you looked at Vagabonds Nomads, they had the exact same number of points as the Conquerors. So therefore, they will maintain this lead. They are not going to go anywhere just yet. But what's important is that lead has been drastically cut down. Now the Four Kings Aces are just 17 points behind Vagabonds Nomads, just mere 4 points behind the Conquerors, and therefore if they can keep up this performance, they should be able to very easily cut ahead of the Conquerors and Nomads. But that isn't going to be as easy if Nomads and Conquerors can keep up their own consistency. Speaking of consistency, both Conquerors and Aces have had a problem with that. Nomads, on the other hand, even though they do not reach up to the top 3 or the top 5 sometimes, one thing that they're extremely consistent with is all of their slays on the battlefield, which is something that, not many other teams have been able to emulate. Almighty Prime, although they make their way into that final circle extremely well, they're just not able to maintain the kind of supreme firepower that they used to have in the past. NRX 432, against all odds, still stick to the 5th spot, even though the play of Nomads took them out super prematurely. There barely was any points, but thankfully the rest of the leaderboard, the rest of the teams out there are not doing too great whenever they go out there on the battlefield, and that's just allowing NRX 432 to survive. But you can only rely on survivability for so long, brother. You need to do something to climb up that leaderboard yourself, and NRX 432, they need to switch something up.
Yeah, and that's what happens when we saw the picture earlier, when the post-game breakdown has been shown. Only the top 3 teams have most kills in that point. And even if NRX 432 didn't get that much, because all the kills was just top heavy, like there's no movement, not that much movement that will be happening from the bottom of this list. So hopefully this is a chance for this team to really change it up, because it's more easier for those on the right hand side of this list to be able to cross that left hand side, because as you can see, 48, 47, 44, 42, it's not so far from what the scores of CB1 main has, which is 32, and a good run for them. Survivability and a little bit more of kills for the remaining 5 rounds that will give them crossing over that top 8, AJ.
Yeah, and in terms of crossing over the top 8, it's easier said than done. But the flight path is the only consistent thing today by the looks of it. It once again cuts towards the north part of the map, making places like New Vision City, Circus Estate, Practice Range a little bit more difficult to get to. But as long as it is there, the players of Four Kings will continuously focus on pushing in for it. And that's exactly where they are heading in. But just behind them, NICAEA Kings wants to play with fire. The Four Kings is not going to like this at all, Neptune.
Yeah, instead of New Vision City, we have the Four Kings going into the pier. So I think because of that short move from the Four Kings, there's a chance for the NICAEA Kings to move into New Vision, but not so much. As we can see, they stopped in there from that pier. Oh, Del Cutie as well as Omega has run in there, and it's a good chance for them to get a lot more loot. And with them visible and by the Four Kings, not quite sure what will be the response right now, because I don't think the Four Kings will start challenging different teams and change that approach to something that might not work to their favor.
Yeah, shout out to Jing Cruz. Happy birthday, buddy. I hope you have a great one there. And the players of Four Kings, they have got a vehicle on their side, but everybody wants to head into New Vision City. Omega gets knocked down by Kyun, and that's what you get when you try to tease the location of the Four Kings. You are gonna get toasted. Del Cutie alongside Instinct. Then Instinct taken down, I believe, by Del Cutie. No, he didn't. He just went in there for the slide. A little bit of a miscommunication from the team as they allow their opponent to get away. Omega gets taken out of the equation. Del Cutie still as slippery as ever. Fright and Instinct both together eliminate him from the equation. And this is what's gonna happen if you try to take away this drop spot from the Four Kings. You're just gonna give them easy 4 kill points, Neptune. We still have got one more player here left on the side of E&E. Hopefully they get out safely, because I know the Four Kings will go on a crazy hunt. NICAEA Kings, their time is, I think, numbered already.
Yeah, and I'm quite surprised that the Four Kings really did this. And when we thought that they will be cutting short the flight that they have towards Pierre because of the sight of a different team, no, they didn't. They just let them ahead a little bit, get a vehicle, and then just pass them by and take them down. Just taking a few moments to get those loots so that they're ready in a gunfight. And that is what not NICAEA Kings
Smart,
did
very smart.
in this fight. So it's Kings versus Kings right now, AJ, and the Four Kings are more of the height in this game.
Oh, smart play by Fright. Oh, but it's the KRM by L. He just pops out, shuts him down. But the game of numbers, Instinct and Fright drop by. Bye bye L. The two players say. Nagy gets the knock. Fright gets picked up. Supreme play by L. I absolutely love it, NICAEA Kings. But once again, you really should pick on a different team. From the back now, Nagy will be able to find Frosh. Nagy can't take him out of the equation just yet. But Frosh, I believe, has managed to pick up that dog tag. Nagy gets run over. Not dropped just yet. Frost shuts down Nagy. Kuhn alive and kicking the whole team of Four Kings. Can he now manage to retrieve anything for the squad? From the back, Frost is going to be able to play a good defense, but Kuhn gets the kill and saves the rest of the Four Kings. He will pick Fright up quickly first. Instinct's running out of time, but this should be enough time for him to pick both of these players up. Nagy's the only dog tag left out there. Supreme play by the NICAEA Kings, challenging the Four Kings at Vision City. But you have to understand, the Four Kings are no jump squad for you to take a hot drop against and eliminate from the competition.
I'm getting goosebumps right now, literally. After the showing from Al taking down one of the Four Kings, Frosh in there boldly running them down one at a time. And if not for Kuhn, it might have been the end of the Four Kings. But as you mentioned, AJ, they won't be going down that easily. Yes, they went down, but not so much to eliminate it on this game. So more of the Four Kings and 4 kills already for this team. So a lot of force, hopefully, our viewership as well as the shares will reach that 4K as well.
I tell you, man, it's all just anticipation now. The universe is giving us signs 4, 4, 4, 4 everywhere. If the audience, if the broadcast, if the community can share this enough, 4,000 shares, get this up to 4,000 live viewers all at the same time on Facebook, they might just be able to manifest exactly what they want. All of the other teams will be thinking, why didn't we have a number in front of our names?
Yeah, I mean, they can have a 10K. So they have a lot more viewership.
I'll be happy, bro.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even if the 8K viewers that we have, it's more 4K times 2. That's what we are thinking. But so far, we have AxP right now putting a damage against the Royal Kings, and yet another Kings will be dethroned. So we have 3 Kings right here. And since we're going into the names of Kings, I just researched some of the players from NICAEA Kings, and they were the previous Royal Kings from the first season. So I was surprised when I found out about this information, AJ.
And I think the information that you found is all of these guys found the exact same information as well. 2 kills so far, and then they quickly disengage. They don't really want to play this cheekily. We have got AxP Kratos in front of us. They are supposed to be the Supreme Slayers, the gods of war, but not a lot of God of War vibes coming out of them from day number 1. Maybe in day 2 they can change something. First game was a little soft. ABC Anonymous Ozai. The ninja gets knocked down. Ozai flying through the air. Sacred hops on up. Hansi says hello. And Sacred loses his armor. Hansi, fantastic play with the M4. Now Sekre, can he now do anything at all? The players from the side of ABC Anonymous from up top. Sacred drops Ozai. Nico Z taken out by Ainra as well. Swami couldn't do much at all. And ABC, although they had all the opportunities in hand, that high ground advantage as well, they just could not overcome the Conquerors. The Conquerors now, it's a 3v1. One final player on the side of ABC Anonymous up top on the roof. It's just a matter of time before they find Hansi.
Hansi right now is trying to be Humpty Dumpty at this point on this wall. But Ainra right now, SMRS almost being used against him. But it is Dre taking him out with that M4. And Humpty Dumpty indeed falling down to the death and breaking. But unfortunately, no one from the King's Men will be putting him together back again.
everybody quit. They got kicked back to the lobby and they all switched off their phones. They're like, we don't want to play this anymore. NASA Cardell, Vagabonds Nomads, Virus, taken down by the vehicle. Interesting. NRX 432, on the other hand, will be able to find a couple of players from the side of NOOBDLES Gaming, eating them up one after the other. But NASA now, they receive the return fire from Vagabonds Nomads. Esir will be able to find Luke on all of this action going on off screen. We need to hop on over to that battle. NASA takes Travis. Vagabonds Nomads, are they going to be able to take the pilots out of the equation, or will the pilots make quick work of them? And two players, two trades so far. Nomads, Ryujin trying to get away from this equation. Pawi right in front. Ryujin gets confused. And Dream out of nowhere. ABC Mystic interferes as well. Vagabonds Nomads have got one last player to depend on Neptune.
The dream is alive and kicking hard with SMRS, but here comes the rest of the team's Chellup cleaning up after everyone who has brought in the damage at this point. But Esser right now in here from below is Jew as well as Rogue from above, and Esser and Vagabonds Nomads taken out of this game, and that's what we're talking about. ABC Mystic really fearless in their approach, even if it's the Vagabonds Nomads, AJ.
Yeah, but you know, that was a very lucky pick for ABC Mystic. It was an unlucky position for Vagabonds Nomads. The initial damage was done by Team NASA Vanguard. They took two Supreme players out of the side of Vagabonds Nomads, and only one guy was left because out of nowhere, that SMRS shot came through. NASA Bawi, brother, you cannot bring that ATV through just like that. And unfortunately, the Supreme shotgun once again shines, and Chellup managed to steal this out of that pink airdrop. And you know that's got to be stacked, man. He's got all of the mods that's perfect for his game style, for his play style, and that power out of each and every single slug out of that shotgun, just enough to take that ATV out. 4 shots in contact, bye-bye ATV.
It's not only that, like earlier we've seen a tank being taken down that easily, and a chopper as well, giving it an example of what this weapon can do in this game. Omega right now is in there trying to hide out in one of this compound out in the open area, and we'll have to see as to how we are going to, or they are going to get away from the clutches of ABC Mystic. There goes the information gameplay coming from Jew right now, but with all this gunfire, I think a different team might be hearing them and seeing as to how E King is trying to get away. Jew will not be taken out just yet.
Yeah, fantastic, man. He eliminated that ATV already, and the player was just smart enough to hop on off of that ATV in the nick of time so that he doesn't get taken out of the equation. But usually, players don't get that lucky, man. That explosion usually tags you up. He must have lost a little bit of armor and HP there, but just enough of HP on himself to sneak away from that situation. Obviously, that FHJ is not going to be able to catch him from such a distance, no auto lock, but we'll have to see what else the players of ABC Mystic has got in store for us. What a game number 2, Neptune. Super pumped up. They are making us with all of these crazy gameplays. Initially, with the early engagement between the 4 kings as well as the squad, and now all the way down in here, I'm having a lot of fun.
Exactly, because the battle engagement that we're seeing is not all one-sided. It's not just one team going in, eliminating a complete squad. Yes, we see ABC Mystic in there taking down Vagabonds Nomads, but with the help of NASA, they were able to start off that fight and then continued on in. NRX 432 right now with a nade battle on the other side against AxP, and the Conquerors see them from afar.
Yeah, this is like the Conquerors just gave NRX 432 a call and said, hey guys, shall we all toss nades at the team down below? And both of them going back to back and tossing those nades. But the players of 4 Kings now approaching the situation as well. NRX 432 needs to watch out. Earlier on, they went down to the Nomads. Now, maybe it's going to be in the hands of 4 Kings unless they can make a difference for themselves. A lot of players out there on the battlefield, and NRX 432 just tagging everybody up. Void, it's just pure confusion as those players have got that ninja skill to work with alongside that snowboard as well. Gives them that extra bit of mobility to get away from NRX 432. And the 4 Kings saw all of this crazy action from afar, and they said, thank you very much. We don't want any part of it. They went away.
Yeah, I mean, it is not a good cost in exchange of that airdrop. So they need to play for survivability. And I think the same goes for NRX 432. But we still have a battle happening from NICAEA Kings. And this is one thing that another king that will be challenging the 4 kings right now. Now we'll have to see as to how will be what will be happening in this game. We have Del Cutie still. Oh no, we still have this team alive and kicking after the engagement against the 4 kings. So this is a rematch between these 2 teams.
Fantastic, man. I mean, the final player managing to pick up all of those dog tags, waiting for the 4 kings to get away, bringing his full squad right back in here. Fantastic survivable play for the players of NICAEA Kings. Now, as long as they can remain a little safe here, they should be all right. But they are running straight into NRX 432. The 4 kings will take control of this bottom side compound, and NRX 432 up top. NICAEA Kings better be careful because this airdrop has just brought all of those ants in. Someone's about to get bitten.
Yeah, and how itchy and scratchy will they be? We'll have to find out in a little bit because in 10 seconds, the next say so will be shown and it will be closing to the 4th phase. Now, we still have a rush coming to the 4 kings right now, but not straight into the NICAEA Kings. They will be moving in a different direction at this point, and it's a good start for them. They are taking a little bit of higher ground and having their eyes on that height. On the ones on the top, probably someone might be taking that, but they will not take them themselves that easily. As we mentioned earlier, it's different approach from different teams, and this is what's working for the 4 kings. But for NRX 432, hopefully this is a chance for them to get a lot more of points compared to earlier that they have in round number 1.
Yeah, NICAEA Kings, they've done a lot in the competition so far already from yesterday, only picking up a total of 20 kills. But today, with their engagement against the 4 kings, they've shown us they've got quality. But up against the NRX 432 squad, they are extremely nerfed. But the 4 kings drop by to say hello. Fantastic rewind played by Fright, just as he spotted Jokog. Jokog had got no chance against him at all. NICAEA Kings, unfortunately, their round is still not over just yet. Can Del Cutie manage to get away? He needs to pick up all of those dog tags. Joko trying to go to him left and right. He manages to avoid all of those shots. Plays the defense. Del Cutie still alive.
Marcelino Del Cutie is in play. Just going left and right in there, trying to avoid all those gunshots. And I'll find out in the middle of everyone else, will Del Cutie survive this battle? Glad right now is in here just waiting because he heard a little bit of footsteps as well as shots from behind. And this is from Team CB1 main. The rest of NRX 432 have their sides in here and might be taking shots. And there you have it. Sighted is Brian. And Brian's trying to get away outside of the safe zone. The rest of the teams manage to get in. Now, behind them, still the 4 kings right now. And NRX 432, if they make a mistake, they might be stuck between a lot of teams, AJ, and hopefully that is not the case because that might be the end of them.
Yeah, the zone is just putting a lot of pressure on all of these players. Jokok losing a little bit of HP for the greater good because he wants to recover his armor. 150, manages to recover in the nick of time before pushing on through. He is the ninja, so he gets right up back the hill with supreme ease. And now, once again, we see the edge of a cliff being taken advantage of by a squad. Earlier on, it was the 4 kings. This time, it's NRX 432 that plays this meta. How long can they survive at this very edge here? The players of 4 kings approaching their position as well, but right in front of them will stand the Academy of Brothers. Easy picking potentially. CB1 main in the area as well. NASA from the other side. You would have expected NASA to get taken out already earlier on, but things are looking good for them. Pawi as well as Cardell still alive and kicking. Negi manages to hack up all 6 players. This is one chaotic circle, Neptune.
Yeah, definitely. And the 4 kings is still complete, and they have a chance to take this win. But a lot of teams is doing the same thing, the same as NRX 432. But in the middle of them is NASA and Cardinal being shot at by Alves right now, and that tank will be taken out of the play, and Alves just pull out with that rewind class. HGE, on the other hand, only Crayons, who doesn't have an upgrade on him, might have a good chance in here, especially with the compound they're taking. All they have to do is wait as well as a hold back because the next safe zone will be showing. With this, a lot of teams, they have a chance to go for the backstab, AJ.
Yeah, the backstab is only going to be possible if they have got a good angle to work with. Bucked in! Can't get away the PPSH, and the rate of fire is a little bit too much for him to bounce around on Crayons. 94 on the armor, HP being ticked away. This circle is going to hurt out in the open grounds. They run on in, and this is the kind of situation you cannot play that backstab on. If you are yourself being chased down by the circle, you are under a lot of pressure, Neptune. You've got to stay ahead of the game. You've got to stay ahead of that circle. NRX 432 is throwing ahead of the competition as they manage to get knock after knock. Pixie gets taken down by the circle. Circle management is key point when you're playing Battle Royales. Pixie didn't get the note.
Yeah, we'll have to see who else didn't get the note, because this time, I think the high ground will be the best advantage for NRX 432. When we mentioned earlier that that is not the case for most of the time, because it's mostly flat at this point, and a lot of teams have taken the lower ground, it might be a chance for them to take down the Conquerors at this point, but not so much as the Four Kings will let them, because they are on the other side with a slight elevation, and will try to gun them down. So we'll have to see who will take down who, because so far survivability, no one is letting go. And oh, what a good rewind in there, AJ.
Oh, fantastic rewind, man. He had that high ground advantage. He took those shots, and then he realized that, oh my goodness, this guy's not going down. Hits that rewind, says goodbye, and then he goes in for that reset. Now the rest of the Four Kings, they know exactly what to expect and where to expect some opponents from. They're not going to approach this situation again. They're just going to wait for NRX 432 to show their faces a little bit later on. 17 more players left on the battlefield. 5 teams all in all. HGE from the other side, and the Four Kings don't want to meet any of them just yet. Conquerors conquering one after the other, but the zone ticking away at their HP. This might just be a big loss for the Conquerors. Instinct out of nowhere manages to find Sacred, and that's mainly because of the zone that has already caught them earlier on. Four Kings now going in for that fight. Instinctually slides away, but still gets knocked down. The smoke is out. NRX 432 interfering as well. Dre says goodbye to everybody else as he goes back out to the lobby. Kyun from afar. M21. Look at those golden mods. This gun is stacked, Neptune.
Yeah, and there's no getting away even in that close battle. The NRX 432 is trying to get a heck away from that crosshair, and Kyun will take it down up close, but Instinct following it up. Jawcock will be out. 2 team remains, and it is 4 Kings with 3 members, and Case right now is not on the case. This is close. The 4 Kings takes 2.
Manifest the crap out of it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. What did we talk about? All you need to do is manifest the 4 Kings all the way up to the top. But don't forget to hit that like, and don't forget to hit that share as well. That's going to be the most important point here. You got to share. You got to get the 4,000 shares. If you want to see the 4 Kings rise up to the #1 spot, you got to hit that share. You got to make that little number on the top left-hand side on Facebook go up to 4K as 4,000 people continuously watch this broadcast. I think that's just going to inject all of that energy into the players of the 4 Kings as well. 13 kills this time round. #1 spot. Yesterday, consistency was nowhere to be seen. Today, it's just the 4 Kings dominance. They almost got wiped out with a hot drop against the NICAEA Kings at New Vision City. They managed to recover that situation, all thanks to Negi, and now they're all the way back in here. Fantastic showing by the 4 Kings, and NRX 432 as well. They got wiped out prematurely by the players of Vagabonds Nomads. This time around, they pick up 10 kills and 6 points from placement, 16 overall. But when we talk about consistency, we need to talk about the Conquerors managing to hop on up here. How many kills do we see? A total of 14 kills as well as 5 points from placements. The Conquerors don't want to let go of their placement. In fact, they are aiming for that #1 spot as well, Neptune.
Yeah, and what we're seeing right now is a different story, and that's what we love, AJ. Earlier, when we saw the top 3, they got a lot more of kills in there. Noodles Gaming, though it's not so much, but it's 4, but it's not the 2 or 1s that we saw from the previous round. Even HGE have 5 kills in there, and they were able to go for survivability with the last 2 members of their team. And that is what we're talking about. A little bit of adjustment makes you to get and survive a little bit longer, get a few more kills for yourself towards that final safe zone. And if you can manage that survivability, not necessarily to be in front of the top teams in here, just sneaky in there from this side, taking a few kills, then you might bring your team higher onto the leaderboard for that top 8. As we look at CB1 main, same story, is 4 kills and 6 on the placement right now. So far, there's one more that they can be consistent of unless or until they are confident to do a little bit more, AJ.
Yeah, and being confident to do a little bit more has to come through that strategy. This was one of the conversations that we've had in the past, Neptune. If you don't know what you're going to say, if you don't know what you're going to do, you're potentially going to be a little bit nervous. But if you know up front exactly what to anticipate, exactly what to do in certain situations, you're never going to be nervous. And that's exactly how you get the edge over your opponents. That's exactly how you move on forward as well. AxP Mercenaries this time bringing in a little bit of an adjustment, betterment to their aggression out there on the battlefield, a total of 5 kills to their name, and AxP Kratos stepping it up alongside their brothers as well, 4 kills, and they do pick up a single placement point, which is just 1, so a total of 5 points for them. That's good enough. But NASA Vanguard, for heaven's sake, please start playing that Jekyll again.
Yeah, I mean, we commended enough that is a good play, and that is before we saw them make a lot of kills. But it's not because we don't want you to do and use that. It's just that from the start, before we saw the kills coming from Winter, it's not really viable. We didn't see that from the previous group. This time, you made a showing with that Jackal, so yeah, you can bring it back. You have our permission if that's what you're asking for, AJ.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, just play the Jackal as much as possible because, there was a consistency here between today and yesterday. The consistency is the fact that the NASA Vanguard squad is not a supreme slaying team out there on the battlefield. So when you cannot slay as well as you expect to, you got to play your placement points. And one advantage that they have against the other teams that the other teams just cannot play at all much is their supreme capability of managing to maneuver the Jackal around in the skies as if it's second nature to them. And that's the advantage that they have to take over the players. Maybe if they want to try something new, just assess within the team in itself who plays the Jekyll better. Take 2 team members, and Winter 100% needs to play the Jekyll because he's the survivor of the team. So even if you don't want to play 2 Jackals, maybe just have Winter on that Jackal and have someone else just stand by with another Jackal, not getting super aggressive, and play those Jackals for placement points. The other 2 team members, on the other hand, have to be the roamers on vehicles who follow the trajectory of the Jackal down below. So if the Jackal gets a knock, they follow up with the vehicle and finish those players off just so that they can secure those skill points. And if they can actually pull off that gameplay, I tell you, I'm going to scream louder for them than I'm screaming for the 4 Kings right now, Neptune.
I mean, I really like to see that gameplay. It will really put in a different, a different flavor in Battle Royale because Jackals, as we commented, it's not so much, it's more information gameplay. And I love the idea as well as a follow-up because same as a sniper, from a distance, yes, you can get a knock, but the follow-up of elimination is barely being done. And that is how annoying it is. But with that Jackal, if he can do a play wherein 3 will be the roamers, 1 will be in their Jackal, then a complete wipe can be done instantly once they saw that knock. So NASA, we're praying, we're wishing from the stars that you play or make that play because that's what we like to see. Let's show us that you deserve the goggles more than Meow.
Oh, yeah, absolutely right. Meow, I cannot wait to see these players make it through to the grand finals because I want to see exactly what they can do with the Jackal in the grand finals against all of the other Supreme teams as well. But in order to make it there, they have to make sure they stay in the top 8. So I'm looking forward to seeing more plays from NASA Vanguard, more safe plays. But 2 teams that usually bring in quality, usually bring in the points, this time around they bomb out early. And that is all my prime alongside Vagabonds Nomads. We saw what happened to Vagabonds Nomads, the ones who actually tortured them the most was actually NASA Vanguard. And when push came to shove, when the players of ABC Mystic dropped by to say hello, the players of NASA Vanguard just disappeared from the scene as quickly as possible. But one mistake that they made was trying to get back in there a little bit too early to pick up the dog tag, and the players of ABC Mystic just had the perfect shotgun on their side. The rate of fire of the shotgun just absolutely intense, managing to shut down that ATV, blowing it up, taking the player out of the equation. So that was an overall loss. But Nomads, they were just tortured by two teams back to back, and I'm pretty sure they were surprised, and I'm very sure the third eye is going to be opened up very, very soon. Almighty Prime, on the other hand, I think this team is just suffering with a lot of inconsistencies with the team so far. They just need to keep their heads down and avoid all of those early engagements. I mean, we talked about the homework many a times now already, Neptune. They just need to do a little bit more of that.
Yeah, so far, Almighty Prime, like, this is not the usual from Almighty Prime. It's probably because a lot of teams already read the situation, because we had a lot of break, AJ, from the first season to this one. And this is where most of the teams, those doing the study, have taken a lot of interest, understanding how to take down Vagabonds Nomads, Vagabonds Esports, Almighty Prime, because they are the ones in the top from the previous season. And once they understood that, they practice on how they can make it work for themselves, get in on their own tactics to counter any approach that this team has to do. And so far, this is the struggle that Almighty Prime as well as the Nomads are encountering, even Vagabonds Esports from the first group. So I love how this is ending and how much like it's not much of drama, but the story behind each team and the growth that they're doing in these games are showing at this point.
Yeah, the growth that we usually see from the teams are a little bit slow. You know, they just need to fasten that pace up somehow, and the only way to do that is to put in the hours, put in the time. After every day of broadcast, the team needs to sit down, the team needs to assess their performance out there on the battlefield. If possible, they need to have some recording devices to record their own gameplays and review that at the end of the day to find out exactly what went wrong, because not always do you see the teams on here on broadcast. Obviously, we can only look at one player's perspective at a time, and sometimes we do miss out some of those plays. So just reviewing the overall footage, the overall broadcast isn't going to help them all that too much. They need to review their own footages, but that's going to take a lot of effort. That's going to take a lot of time. The question is, who's willing to put in the time? The Four Kings Aces might just be the people who have put in the time. Yesterday, they were inconsistent. Today, back to back, the kings of the lobby. The Four Kings Aces strike twice in 2 rounds. Can they make it 3 for 3 now, Neptune?
Yeah, we'll have to see. Like, that is on the way for 4 wins, as we are aiming for all 4s right now for this day, with the showing that the Four Kings are like having at this point. It is like, it's possible that they can get 4 wins, even more, but it's great if there will be 4, because it just matches the theme that we keep saying. 4K viewers is the wish, 4 wins is the wish, and the Four Kings will bring that, the fans as well. But AJ, that is an exciting first 2 rounds. And I'm really excited to see what's the 3rd round is going to happen. But we have to take a quick break so that we can rest our voices. So for those of you right now, take advantage for like and share. We'll be right back.
New Vision City での重要任務に関する通達を受け取った。行くわよ。
うわ、楽しみ。
こいつもポストヒューマンなのか。トグさん。
何やってんだ。
スイッチブレード起動しました。これでも食らえ。注意、リロード中です。遅い。そうささやくのよ、私のゴーストは。
立ちこま、援護しろ。
もっと上手にできてるよね。
その調子だ、立ちこま。お前はよくやってるよ。
でしょ。パートナーさんは分かってるな。
本当のことだ。
アーバントラッカー会いたかったよ。
ニュービジョンシティでの重要任務に関する通達を受け取った。行くわよ。
うわ、楽しみ。
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Garena Survivors, brought to you by Call of Duty Mobile. So far, dominance, no doubt whatsoever by the four kings, but there is only so much that the other teams will be able to accept because they obviously won some points for themselves. So if the competition has been hot in the first two rounds, you can bet that it's about to just get a little bit more hotter in here. My name's AJ. I am the Mustachio down here with the one and only Neptune, the gentleman Garcia, guiding guys through the semifinals all the way down through the 3-day back-to-back grand finals that we have in store for all of you coming very, very soon.
Yeah, very soon that will be happening because this is day 2 already of the semifinals, and tomorrow will be the last day of semifinals. But for today, we're already seeing a little bit of pattern for this team and how close and they can maintain this all throughout the 3 days of the semifinals. They might be in there number 1, the four kings, especially because so far the wins that they're getting, AJ, is in something that brings them on top of the others. Not only that, like they are the third one, if not the third one with the most number of kills on this game. So really good balance for this team. And if they continue this on, especially with the performance of the Vagabonds Nomads as well as AMT Prime, they might be the one in the running for the top 3 at this game, AJ.
Yeah, and no matter what, the Four Kings just need to maintain consistency, because obviously what they've done has been spectacular, but it's not enough yet to conquer the leaderboard. Who conquers the leaderboard? None other than the Conquerors themselves, who have been absolutely consistent match after match after match. Now, let's take a quick look and see a little bit as to how they are doing, because I'm curious as to see where is NRX 432 as well. They've hopped on up to the 4th placement now, just behind the Four Kings Aces. The Four Kings Aces, earlier on we saw them 4 points behind the Conquerors. Now they are just 2 points behind Vagabonds Nomads, who have been pushed down to the 2nd place. And if you want to compare their placement against the Conquerors themselves, they are just a mere 6 points behind. So a little bit more effort needed from the Four Kings if they want to grab that #1 spot. But a lot of effort is needed here by teams like NRX 432 or Almighty Prime or even ABC Mystic if they want to catch up with the top 3 in this leaderboard here on day 2, Neptune.
Yeah, we're seeing a great divide in here for the top 3 against those that follows, because as you can see, the top 3 as early as now has crossed that 100 mark. From the previous group, it took a little bit longer before some teams took 100 points from the game. So this time, the top 3 right now, Conquerors, Vagabonds Nomads, the Four Kings Aces, a lot of gap between those below them. But there's one thing that worries me, because AMT Prime being pushed on the top, like in the 5th spot right now, and NRX 432, though good showing for NRX 432, they have been consistent for this round and for the other days as well, as they learn how to adjust after the first round of the game. Almighty Prime is struggling a little bit, having a little bit of trouble in the approach they have, the tactics that they have in this game, AJ.
And the players of NASA Vanguard are slowly losing their grip on the top 8 here. As you can see, they have been pushed down to the 8th spot. This is something that we've been talking over round 1 as well as round 2. NASA Vanguard, I want to see them put their pilot goggles right back on, and I want to see Winter up in the air, because what Winter can guarantee for the team at the very least is 6 points, and 6 points is so much better than getting 1 or 2 kills out there on the battlefield, Neptune. You got to do the game of math here. So NASA Vanguard, yesterday they had a good play. Today they've seemed to change things up. You know, when I was making all of those comments yesterday, all I wanted them to do was to figure out exactly how effective was the Jackal plays. Bringing 3 Jackals in there, forcing all 4 players onto the Jackal, obviously is not the best of plays, but at the same time, letting go of the Jackal clearly isn't going to do them any benefit at all. In this game number 3, I want to see those boys soar once again, Neptune.
Yeah, and I think they'll be able to soar, because as we look at the flight path, it's so much different compared to previous 2 ones who are gearing towards the north. So a lot of teams had chance to drop in where they intended to go. So we'll see as to where these teams will drop, and will the challenge of New Vision City still continues? NICAEA Kings will not be backing down, AJ.
Oh, they're not going to be backing down, because yes, earlier on, NICAEA Kings, yes, they did lose to the Four Kings in that battle, but that's mainly because they left 1 player out of the equation to pick up their dog tags. Now we're going to have a equal 4v4 out here on the battlefield, and you also have those humanoids inside of New Vision City who will be shooting at you as well, breaking your armor, also taking away a little bit of your HP. Negi gets Del Cutie. That's one of the most annoying players out of the NICAEA Kings already, so he's been turned into a dog tag. Let's see who else becomes a dog tag as well. And now Negi needs to just recover a little bit of his armor as we hop on over to CB1. Tito Ming still walking around, no problem with his knees in here today, but Bryans gets backstabbed by 4Gs. Here comes the players of NOOBDLES Gaming as well, stepping up their gameplay, Neptune.
And that's one reason why Denise is not giving out because of the rewind plans. There's not much running that's needed. But unfortunately, T.E.A.M will be taken down by 4Gs as well as another member. So it's now one left for CB1 main. Back to the battle at hand from the Kings. And Kings, we have 4 Kings Omega. Or no, it's a NICAEA Kings Omega being taken and run after by Kyun. But Kyun right here will turn around and get away. And I think it's just a waiting game. The moment that you step in and pull out, you will be shut down. But no, that didn't happen. Kyun was able to let that go, and Omega will be surviving. And from the way I'm looking at it, 3 members of NICAEA Kings are still alive and kicking as they wait for the chance to take down the 4 Kings.
Yeah, right now, very frighteningly takes Frosh out of the equation. One more Negi, just assist Kyun. E taken out of the equation. NICAEA Kings, can they find Omega? Omega, the final player left in here. Kyun goes in for the chase, hasn't found him just yet. Omega right up top. He uses the Travelator to get him the extra bit of speed. Sees a dog halfway through, doesn't stop by to pet the dog. What's up, Kyun?
Well, if that's a dog, not quite sure if you heard that dog growl. It scares the heck out of me. Like, I thought it was something. I had my, like, the sounds all on, full on, and oh my God, where was that coming from?
I get you, man. I get you, man. But to me, dogs are cute, bro. I'll still pet it on the head. It tries to bite me, I'll try to domesticate it. You know, I show dogs that I'm the true alpha dog, no matter wherever I go. So maybe that's what you gotta try out a little bit as well. Kyun, opportunity, zip line right in front of him, trying to catch up with Omega. Omega nowhere to be found, and so Kyun just continues on his looting process. 3 dog tags out on the open, and I believe 2 players on the side of 4 Kings just keeping a good eye on it. And I don't think this ego challenge should have been made by the players of NICAEA Kings. They should have just backed away. They still want to fight with the 4 Kings. I guess the earlier engagement gave them the confidence that they could catch the players of 4 Kings off guard. But that's exactly what it was. They caught the 4 Kings off guard because the 4 Kings was not expecting to see anyone take a hot drop against them. And that got them a little bit of a leeway. But now that the 4 Kings expect you to drop by their spot, they are going to be looking for you. They are going to be hunting you down. Just like what the Academy of Brothers try to do, but the smoke bomb gets bought and Paquito in a lot of trouble. Hanti gets dropped down onto the ground as A pulls out that M4. Fantastic play, but up top, you see the other players of A, B, C, Anonymous hiding away. Ozai as well as Nico Z. What do they have in store? A just creeping up all alone. This might just be a terrible play. Triggers a trap. Swampy at the bottom. Nico Z takes advantage.
He'll be right now not really bonded that much as the brothers, as they are being taken down one at a time. But this time, good play by Paquito. And we'll see as Niana will be able to dance it out. Niana right now trying to take down Nico, TZ, and Ozai will be sighted. Hash Bash, what will be the play? No! Another response with a Hash Bash as well by Ozai takes them down.
Yeah, took them down as quickly as he could, and Nico Zine as well as Ozai right up top now. Aihu and Paquito moving on through to shut down the final player on the side of A, B, C, Anonymous. A up top already, and this is the Academy of Brothers showing the Malaysians that you are not going to be able to get the best of us. Ozai still manages to knock down Paquito, and he takes him out of the equation, hops on up as well as he uses the advanced armor to recover 150 of his armor and the PPSH in hand, runs on up top, turns around, and Ozai knocked down onto the ground. Fantastic play by A.
Yeah, and I thought Ozai will be able to clutch it out. There's only 2 soldiers remaining from the Academy of Brothers main. Still, we are seeing them with 4 kills already. And also, I'm really happy to say and announce Winter is back in the Jackal and making a killing, AJ.
Yeah, back in the Jackal, and that's what we're talking about, right? And thank you, Winter, for listening. All we want to do is just see these players get the most out of these rounds, right? And all of them who show us a little bit of promise, we are going to support you regardless of anything else. All you need to do is show us, casters, that you bring something special to the game, and you will have us scream your names out loud on your behalf and boost your confidence all the way up to the top. I want to see Winter in that final circle once again, and I want to see NASA Vanguard in the grand finals because of those amazing plays. Sacred now for the side of Conquerors. They have an opportunity to approach NOOBDLES Gaming. NOOBDLES Gaming, who were quite subdued yesterday, now all hacked up. The players of Conquerors, good play by 4Gs, and as he approaches the Conquerors little by little, he gives that information over to Jello. They can expect 3 players on the other side of the hill, but nothing spotted just yet, Neptune.
Yeah, and the flank is on by Jello as a Treb that takes the high ground. Now, this approach right now by NOOBDLES will need to be a little bit slow and tactical, and there goes Jello, a little bit too aggressive into the approach. Ainra will be waiting and taking them down. Now, NOOBDLES still fighting and firing it. Sacred almost stacked up. The smoke was able to save him, but not so much. And he goes down the hands of Alnix. And let's see, as 4Gs will be that quick and Dre taken down.
Yeah, fantastic play, and this is what we're talking about. This is NOOBDLES Gaming, and they're awakening. They have already activated their full senses. Ainra trying to get away. Trap spots him out. Bye-bye, Ainra. In the air, he gets shut down. Conquerors are conquered.
And this is NOOBDLES Gaming that we're talking about. We called them out, and the call out, usually they respond. And the same as Winter. So Winter's the one trying to get back on them, but 8 kills already from NOOBDLES Gaming FEROX, and no one can take them down, even the Conquerors. And I will be surprised on how it will end for the Conquerors by the leaderboards, because it's rare that we see them at the bottom of this round.
All right, this dropping, taking a hot drop against Niana, and the Academy of Brothers now under a lot of pressure as the 4 Kings drop by to say hello. A is split from his other brother on the other side, Who, and between these 2 players stands the rest of the 4 King players. Instinct, I believe he has spotted one right down below him already. A is on the awaiting side, and Instinct catches him. A moves on straight towards him to take him out of the equation. Neki, what a grenade! A dropped down onto the ground, helping Instinct out in a tight spot. What a teamwork, Neptune.
Yeah, and there's no blaming in there for the kill skill. The steal. Let's rewind. Kill steal. Let's go back.
Let's go
back. I mean, that's how it is. With us, like, there's no replay, there's no rewind for us, but this
so you
time
manually
we
hit
have
it.
a chance.
You just manually hit it, man. I love that, bro. You gotta do that again, man. You just freaking cracked me up live, bro. AFT on the way in. Let's see if they can. Matoy loses his bike, but has got the snowboard to depend on Neptune. Smart play, easy reconnaissance, but Chibi now moves on in for the finisher.
Yep, and GB is now not that cute little guy, as Matoy still gets away. Now, the claws of Almighty, I think, has been, taken out right now. They're not too aggressive as we've seen, and it takes
Matoy.
3 members to try to take them down. But Matoy will try to escape. Finally, it was the sniper. It is Chase in there from afar.
Chase living true to his name, chasing down Matoy, but it took 3 players back-to-back on the side of Almighty Prime to take that sneaky little guy out of the equation. But props to Matoy for the amazing movements to avoid all of those engagements earlier on. ABC Mystic, though, playing with fire. Winter all alone down below, and ABC Mystic going in for the hunt. Winter opportunity shut down, and I believe that is the final player on the side of NASA Vanguard. They had a good chance. Winter pulled in the Jackal, but unfortunately the other 3 players getting taken down supremely early seems to have hurt the players a little bit too much, Neptune.
I think they're running out of rock fuel right there, and they need to order a little bit more so that they can be fired up in this game. Vagabonds Nomads, as we can see, are now fired up, and they're trying to make up with the kills that they lost from the previous round. Almighty will be on this side. Vagabonds Nomads is still here with 3 kills. Not so much from what we've seen from the other rounds. Probably it's because Almighty is the one challenging them. And seeing them on that leaderboard, it's not so much of a gameplay being seen from Almighty, and they need to recover. So both teams hungry to get points. And this is why this gameplay is not as fast as we expect.
Yeah, and you got to just take it slow, right? Sometimes when you take it a little bit too fast, the players of either Vagabonds Nomads or some of the other Supreme teams just manage to turn things around against you a little too quickly. You got to take things slow. You got to slow down the pace, just like how Negi brings out the SMRS to shut down Jew. And the players of ABC Mystic now under a lot of pressure after losing one player from the equation already. Almighty Prime, they disengage with their opponents and they want nothing else to do with the players of Vagabonds Nomads. But Nomads just circling around a little bit closer though. I don't know what's the plan, but Almighty Prime, they've got that high ground advantage. This might just be a GG for the Nomads if they force the issue.
Especially with Chase in there when the sniper might be sighting the Vagabonds and Nomads a little bit too early. But no, taking the other side and Jack in hand. I think they felt the presence of Vagabonds Nomads, and once they are close enough, because Vagabonds and Nomads a little bit too early, but no, taking the other side and Jack in hand. I think they felt the presence of Vagabonds Nomads, and once they are close enough, because they understand the aggressiveness and how the rush of Vagabonds Nomads is, they will be ready for close combat. Here comes Jack, but Chase will miss that. Esser will fly high in there, but not so much because it will be moving outside of the safe zone. But Treb being a distraction in there. Now, what are doing, Treb?
Wow.
Inside the battle of Almighty and the Nomads.
Oh, Jello almost managed to take him down, but now Nomads have got that high ground advantage. Almighty Prime, they are stuck. Initially, they had the advantage, and now they've given away all of that to the players of Nomads. Travis ahead. Chase cannot catch him up just yet. Ryujin on the back, I believe, is going in for the engagement against Dre. This is just a mess coming through, and I believe the players of Almighty Prime are going to be in a lot of trouble, and Dre gets taken down by the zone. What in the world is happening?
A lot of a confusion is happening, AJ. I mean, there's only 2 members in here from Almighty, and if I'm not mistaken, only 1 from Vagabonds Nomads, and they're only battling like each other. Only a few instances from other teams like NG's Noobdles Gaming, but we've seen how well Noobdles Gaming managed and handled themselves. So I'm confused as well as to what's happening with this team of Almighty Prime and Vagabonds Nomads. Hopefully they can give us a better showing and not this much of, I would say, nonsense from this team. This is not what we expect from them.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you have your ups, sometimes you have your downs, man. Even 4 Kings yesterday, they bombed out a couple of rounds. So I still do believe Almighty Prime has a lot of opportunity to make their comeback in here. They've got a lot of time. And, if you look at their overall positioning on the overall leaderboard, they're not really in a danger spot just yet. They just have to check out some sort of performance. It was a little bit messy, but they've recovered from that situation already. That's what's most important here. They've got a full squad once again as they scan the dog tag of their brother. The guy who was outside of the circle got picked right back up. So all's good for the side of Almighty Prime. But if you look at ABC Mystic, things seem to be getting a little bit crazier by the second. Rogue now on the ground. Owl has brought back into the game already. AxP Mercenaries taking the fight up against ABC Mystic. But ABC Mystic doesn't want any part of this. They say goodbye. They disengage. They move on to a different location within this compound in itself. But this compound is getting a little crowded by the second.
Yeah, because a lot of teams are already moving in quite that fast.
I know it's
and
Juice spot though.
As you can see, Juice in there. I don't know what he's doing and what more he can do for the team, but probably just waiting for a chance to get the dog tags. But as we can see, Owl will be getting back, and it's only a few more seconds that ABC Mystic has to get those dog tags for their teammates. So we'll see. Owl is back. AxP is just waiting. Oh my goodness! Big C seeing them on a takedown from afar by Travis.
Usangala Pixie trolling the guy as well. Takes him down with the MW11 and then crawls right beside him. And that's exactly what you get. Oh, you are? And Asir from the back. Asir punishes Pixie. That's why you don't troll anyone. That's exactly why you don't troll.
It is possible that Pixie just came back from the revive flight as well as Esser. And that was just insane. That was just crazy from these teams. I don't know what else we're going to see in this game, AJ.
Oh, thank you. I love the observers, man. They've stepped up their gameplay as well. They're catching all of this fantastic action out there on the battlefield, and they are allowing us casters to do what we do the best way possible, catching all of this action and breaking it down for you guys. Vagabonds Nomads now having a quick team meeting inside of the toilet. Now they have to get back out there and battle everybody else as well. Right beside them is going to be Noobles Gaming, the team that has been proving themselves on day number 2. And beside them, HGED11 Kratos, the gods of war themselves. We want to see some action breakdown on the battlefield, Neptune, but at the moment, everybody's subdued. Everybody wants to take this slow.
They are taking it slow, definitely, especially Almighty Prime. They are a little bit of distance from the rest of the teams, and this is a good play, especially with Chase and the sniper, but with not much on, well, a whole lot of kills. I'm surprised because they don't have that much of playing or killing versus Vagabonds Nomads earlier. This time, I think this is where they start it. 4th phase of the safe zone when everyone is close behind. And when I say close, it's very close because the 4 Kings are coming in hot.
Yeah, they're coming in hot indeed, Neptune, but they are smoked up already. They've got no vision to play around with, so they have to move a little bit slowly. AMT Chase, high ground advantage, but who are they going to be able to engage with? The rest of the party is so far away from them. The 4 Kings are behind. AMT Chase, they've got a good position to play around with, but here comes that circle as well to pressure everybody off of that high ground, and they manage to find a tiny little compound for themselves. And Chase, the rest of them all join up together. Noobles Gaming still doing well. GB down on the ground, AK-47 supremacy, but now the circle teases the 4 Kings themselves, still holding on to the high ground, refusing to let it go, Neptune.
Yeah, when I thought that when we reduce the teams to 16, we are going to see less surviving in the final zone. But this time, 10 teams alive, and we're going and slowly move to the last phase. A lot of kills might be happening. And Nagy in there with the SMRS, a good gameplay plus cluster. This is really the bomb of the 4 Kings.
Can the 4 Kings manage to get 3 back-to-back victories? Chalob! What are you doing, brother? At the side of the hill, Nagy gets Paquito with the SMRs again. Chalob's still alive, but gets taken down by the circle. Instinct chases after him, but I don't think that's going to be a kill point that he can secure for himself, is it? 9 kills so far on the side of the 4 Kings. And Instinct, he plays with the zone, and he gets punished by the zone. No more revivals for Instinct. Was that worth it, my friend? I really don't think so.
It's not really worth it because they know that it's closing in. Communication breakdown probably for the 4 Kings, but they stick together despite of how many smokes and enemies in front of them. Smoke bomber gameplay in here, and there goes a takedown. But Chase also going for the hit, and Virus also making the kills. A lot of kills from everyone, but Travis is the only one remaining for the Nomads, and he is stuck in the middle, and shots coming from behind.
Yeah, Ryujin down on the ground. I believe Travis has got a little bit of time to pick him up, but with all of this chaotic movements out in here, Owl manages to take Ryujin out of the equation. Matoy drops Travis. Vagabonds Nomads taken out in the 8th place. And here comes A AxP Mercenaries with 4 kills in hand so far. They're looking for the top 3 placement this time round. We talked about the A AxP. Brad, Fright drops by. Fright taken out by Lexus. Backstab. 4 Kings, what are you doing?
Well, Backting is the only one seen in there by Fright, and they thought it's only one player, but here comes another contender! NRX 432, but Lexus survives and kills them off. Lexus as well as Fiji will not be flying to that island, and they will be waiting for the chance to take this win. All they have to do is wait, because with the 5 teams, there's only 10 soldiers remaining, and HGE is the only threat, as well as NRX 432 with 3 teams in play.
Yeah, I mean, this is an opportunity for all of the underdogs, but Glad gets taken out by Fiji. Here comes AxP out of nowhere. They're just the supreme team in the battlefield. Fiji from up top. Joko shuts him down, and it is HGE still surviving. Fantastic play by the Kratos squad.
HGE Kratos. Well, the numbers game really went into play. They are in their 4-man tall as they closest in for the safe zone. And regardless of how strong you are, if you are looking at damage as well as survivability, more numbers will result to more positive gameplay. And that is what happened for HGE. Didn't quite see how many kills they got here, but so far with a lot of enemies in front of them, probably a few picks has been taken in that gameplay, AJ.
Yeah, and you know, this final circle was the battle of the underdogs, but it's good on NRX 432 to just hold on as long as they possibly could in that final circle, right? But apart from them, it was just back-to-back underdogs fighting for the throne. Kratos managing to pick up that #1 spot alongside, how many kills is this? 10 kills and 10 placement points, 20 overall is going to help HGE a lot to continue climbing up that leaderboard. The last time we spotted them, they were in the 10th spot. If you add 20 points in here, now they're definitely in the top 8 already. And looking at AxP Mercenaries, we did talk about how we wanted to see them climb up. When we started off the day, these were the teams that we were mentioning, man. We wanted to see more out of them, and they are chugging out as best as they can in terms of productivity, especially towards that final circle, proving that they are ones who can take it all the way. Yesterday, they showed us a little bit of promise. Today, they show us that they can get the job done. 9 kills overall for the Mercenaries alongside 6 placement points gives them 15, more than enough to sneak in very close towards that top 8. And NRX 432 maintaining consistency in this round number 3, managing to pick up 5 points from the placements for themselves with 6 from the slays. That gives them 11. And Team 15 AxP Kratos, I tell you, this final circle was this all-out battle of the underdogs. And this team manages to pick up a total of 4 kills for themselves alongside 4 points from placements. Academy of Brothers sneaking into that 5th spot with 5 kills on their side. ABC Mystic with 2 kills. It doesn't matter, but it still is those placement points that do count for something. Just 2 for themselves this time around. And 4 Kings. Although they did manage to sneak in towards that final circle, very, very, very bad call by Instinct to go hunting for a kill that didn't even belong to him, and he put the whole team at risk, because if they had that extra bit of number in that final circle, things could have been different for the 4 Kings. We could have seen a back-to-back-to-back victory.
And one thing that we really rely on for Instinct is his snipers. And him, yes, he had the high ground in there, but not so much because he has been taken down with a safe zone. For what? For 1 kill? That's not so much. And as you can see, 2 kills already for Instinct. Probably, I'm thinking these players are so competitive that they don't want to go down with not so much on the kills. Thus, they want to make do with a lot more. But it's more of communication that needs to happen. So far, the 3 members of 4 Kings went ahead, and Instinct just left behind. Vagabonds Nomads, on the other hand, still doing a lot with the kills that they have. 10 kills to their name, but not so much on the placement on 8. But Noodles Gaming, we've seen them in the bottom of the leaderboards for so many times, but this time they got a lot of kills. Imagine taking 12 kills in this game. 9th place, I don't mind, because the 12 kills will bring a little bit more. This is a good start for them. If they can maintain this, they can focus later on making it the safe zone. A little bit of reverse of what we call out for some of the teams, but if this is what's working for them, then so be it.
Yeah, and you know, in terms of that working for them, I feel like they just have to play all of their best abilities towards that final circle. But we also saw a team, you know, pick up on a little bit of our tips and bring their best plays into the game. And that is going to be NASA Vanguard, with Winter picking up the Jackal. But the downside is the 3 of his team members took a hot drop against ABC Mystic inside of, I believe, Black Market earlier on, losing their lives, turning themselves into a dog tag, and forcing Winter to abandon his uses Jackal to go in to save his squad. You cannot allow that to happen. Winter cannot be the savior of the team. They just have to take care of themselves. Winter is just the survivor. And if Winter already sees the rest of his team members go down already, the best thing that he can do is continue surviving, play the game of survival. But instead, he had to double back down to pick those dog tags up because all three members got toasted. And, you know, at this point, it's just turning out to be a case of him carrying the squad. It cannot be the case, Neptune. Everybody else needs to step up in their own accord. Team 10, the one and only Almighty Prime, still struggling to find their placing in this competition. And overall, 7 kills for them, still manages to do the job, even though they do not find the top 5 or the top 3 placements for themselves. So the 10 kills are going to help them, at the very least, sustain their placement on the overall leaderboard, Neptune.
Royal Kings right now on 12th place. 2 kills to their name for Enam and Deb. Not so much on the placement in this point, but hopefully this will change because being there at the bottom, though, you have a good chance because the gap is not yet that much, but you really need to put in a lot more of effort. And effort has been placed by the next team that I'm going to call out. Conquerors right now, this is the rare occasion where we see them at the bottom of this placement. We'll have to see if this is something of a fluke that they were caught off guard because yes, they can put in the kills, especially with what we're seeing right now, 4 kills, but with the placement, this is not the Conquerors that we often see.
Yeah, usually we see a lot of consistency from the Conquerors this time around. We just see them bomb out a little bit too early. Has to go down to that strategy that they played earlier on, being caught out by multiple teams. We saw a little bit of a messy play, especially towards the edge of that cliff. They were going up against various teams, and the kind of decisions that were being made was just a little questionable. But Team 5 in here, ABC Anonymous, they have been quite consistently bad throughout the competition. They have to figure out how do they sneak into that final circle no matter what, because all they seem to be picking is the scrap points through kills here, there, left, right, center, and ABC Anonymous currently just crashing out at the very bottom of the leaderboard. So if something's not done immediately, things aren't really going to change for them in this day number 2. And by day number 2, if you can't continue to climb up at least towards the 10th spot or 9th, you are going to be struggling in that final day of semis for Group B. Team 11, the one and only NICAEA Kings. You know, ego challenges might be good if you can handle some of your gunfights, but they shouldn't have challenged the 4 Kings so early at New Vision City. That one, for me, Neptune, was a terrible call.
They should have had a surprise approach against this team of 4 Kings because they know already where they're dropping. They know already what to expect from the 4 Kings from that New Vision City. They can distance themselves from the pier and prepare on the approach because I'm pretty sure they saw that as one guy was alive and kicking from the previous round, surviving towards the end. So they saw the approach of 4 Kings into the next phase. If they planned it a little bit early, going in from pier and then cutting them off on their retreat or approach into the next phase, then they might have a lead against the 4 Kings. But that might be too much because so far the 4 Kings has been consistent with the gameplay as well as the kills that they're doing. But if they really want to play with ego, that's one thing they can do and not bash them heads against the 4 Kings in that city.
Talking about bashing their heads, this was the VVV Conquerors at the very edge of the cliff. They should have disengaged as quickly as possible, but instead they allowed Nobles Gaming of all teams to take advantage of their positioning and shut them down one after the other. That's exactly where the whole game broke down for the Conquerors, and a comeback was just no longer possible for them already. A little bit of a disappointing showing overall, if you ask me. Nomads, on the other hand, they try to hop right back in to challenge Nobles Gaming, and surprisingly enough, Nobles Gaming managed to hold their own against Vagabonds Nomads. But of course, we did see another team drop by later on to assist in the elimination of the Nomads overall. But the 4 Kings in this final circle, they once again could have stood toe-to-toe with NRX 432 at the very end, but they just got a little bit too aggressive for my liking, Neptune.
It's more of bait tactics that has been done by Backtin in there from AxP. And that is one thing, a smart move coming from them, as well as HGE Kratos. Yes, they had a lot of kills in the final moment because a lot of top teams have already been eliminated and that in that phase. And one reason that they also took the win is because of the manpower that they have. They were one of the teams who have 4 men strong and just hanging back on the side. So HGE D11 Kratos taking round number 3, breaking the streak of the 4 kings, AJ.
And, you know, in terms of breaking the 4 kings, I feel like this is something that a lot of the other teams can take a little bit note of and take inspiration from, because it doesn't mean just because there's a little bit of dominance from a team up top, from the 4 kings or Almighty or Vagabonds Nomads or whoever it may be, that you don't stand a chance. Even the underdogs can stand a chance, because it is always going to be strategy over mechanical gameplays. Mechanical gameplays will make that journey a little bit more easier, but without strategy, you can be the most proficient player and still bomb out because you do not know how to get in towards that final zone safely together with your whole squad. Once again, I have to highlight that mistake made by Instinct on the side of 4 Kings. Hopefully, we don't see such sloppy plays once again, because you can't get greedy for 1 extra point and then lose your life. Your life is so much more valuable towards the final moments of the game instead of that 1 extra kill point that you look for. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're going to take a quick short break. When we come back, it's the games at Blackout.
New Vision City での重要任務に関する通達を受け取った。行くわよ。
うわ、楽しみ。
行くぞ。行くわよ。立ちこま、手を貸せ。
あれは何なんだ。
こいつもポストヒューマンなのか。トベさん。
何やってんだ。
スイッチブレード起動しました。これでも食らえ。注意、移動中です。遅い。
これでも食らえ。
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 これでも食らえ。 これでも食らえ。 これでも食らえ。 これでも食らえ。 これでも食らえ。 これでも食らえ。 これでも食らえ。
これでも食らえ。
そうささやくのよ私のゴーストは。
立駒援護しろ。
ホップ上手にできてるよね。
その調子だ立駒、お前はよくやってるよ。
でしょ。パートナーさんは分かってるな。
本当のことだ。
アーバントラッカー会いたかったよ。
ニュービジョンシティでの重要任務に関する通達を受け取った。行くわよ。
うわ、楽しみ。
Good day, soldiers, and welcome back to the Garena Survivor Season 2 Legacy, brought to you by Call of Duty Mobile. Day number 2 for Group 2 continues as we are now halfway through this day, and the first 3 rounds in Isolated is over, and we will be jumping into the next 3 rounds of Blackout. We are still your caster and host. I'm Neptune the Gentleman Garcia. Together with me is my brother, the Mustachio AJ.
You know, so far we thought it was just going to be an all-out domination by the Four Kings, but instead of the Four Kings, instead of any one of the top teams, we saw the underdogs rise up to the occasion to say, you know what, now's our time, this is our moment. But that was at Isolated. Over at Blackout, a lot of the teams always struggle to find their positioning because they're so used to playing some of these tighter compounds. Out in the open lands, you are a sitting duck. And here is where I want to see Winters saw around with the Jackal. I want to see a double Jackal setup coming through from the NASA Vanguard team, and 2 of those players taking a vehicle each for themselves, because that's going to be the kind of setup that I think is going to get NASA Vanguard up into the top 8 and stay there, right? Because if they don't actually have a setup like that, we are going to see exactly what we saw earlier on, which is that team basically crashing out a little bit too early. But it's not just them. A lot of the teams, they need to figure out, Neptune, how to deal with the open lands, how to deal with that open space as they navigate from compound to compound.
I would agree with you with the point about NASA, because from yesterday, that is where they got a lot more of the placement point. Like for 2 consecutive rounds, they got the 2nd place just with the Jackal. But as you mentioned, AJ, you need to call out the members of this team of NASA Vanguard, not only Winter, to bring in a little bit more of kills. The follow-up that they can do in this, like the damage that Winter can do with the Jackal, can bring a lot more into the points, not just the placement or not just going in number 2. But we'll have to find out what will be the result in here on that first 3 rounds, because the leaderboard will be shown right now. And oh my goodness, AJ, Vagabonds Nomads and the Four Kings Aces tied 130 points on the top 2 spot.
Yeah, very interesting in terms of the move towards the top. We knew that the Four Kings Aces needed a couple of extra points, and they do just enough to climb just a little bit. Tying up with Vagabonds Nomads is obviously going to be something good for Four Kings Aces. At least they know where they stand overall, toe-to-toe with the ones that currently lead the overall leaderboard. But the Four Kings Aces need to bring in the consistency. I want to ask the team, what if Instinct had stayed alive? What if he had not thrown off the game plan of the Four Kings in that final circle? Would have that number 1 spot be possible? Absolutely, yes. The number 1 spot would have definitely been possible. So that was quite a waste, but I hope that this stings them enough to make sure no further mistakes are made in those future rounds. But the Conquerors, this is going to be a huge warning bell for themselves as well, because that round was one that was a phenomenally underperforming round for the side of the Conquerors that they themselves need to go in and adjust, right? Open lands, they had their snowboards, they had somewhat of a strategy, but those players were split too far apart from each other, and the Conquerors just lost player after player after player. And although NRX 432 seems to be finding that final circle, what they don't find is the opportunity to easily catch up with the top three. Look at the disparity of points here between that fourth and the third place, Neptune.
Yeah, 127 against 75 in there. That's a lot. And that can only be bridged by consistent taking those kills and wins in the remaining 3 rounds if they want to do it by day number 2. But that will not be easy because so far from the first 2 days, first 9 matches that we've seen them, they have been inconsistent at some point, and this time they need to bring it on. Hopefully they have a good plan of approach in this map of Blackout. The same goes for Almighty Prime, though they're close against NRX 432. They have been bombing out, yes, taking a few kills, but with the performance against Vagabonds Nomads earlier on, this is not looking as the prime team that we saw from the first season of Garena Survivors. But this is one thing that really makes me happy is how consistent ABC Mystic has been in there on the left side of our screen. Yes, they have the experience and they made a lot of effort to make sure that they will not be taken down easily, bring in a little bit more of points, if not take those placements. So hopefully this continues on, not only for Mystic but also for Anonymous. But as we jump in onto this map of Blackout, AJ, hopefully the drop points are secured and hot drops, well, for those who are making that mistake, hopefully not this time.
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to make that mistake again, man. Flight path, very equal, splitting the map down into half, shooting through Nuketown Island all the way towards Hydro Dam, so the teams can go and pick whatever spot that they want to. And I see NASA Vanguard, one very specific player, flying towards that Jackal, but at the same time, Noobles Gaming has got a player heading in for the Jackal as well. While we see Winter pick this up, this is a huge spot, a huge fight coming through, and I believe Noobles Gaming are the first ones to that Jackal. This is a little bit unfortunate for the player on the side of NASA Vanguard. At the very early get-go, they don't manage to pick up that Jackal for themselves, and that's gonna hurt them. But VVV Conquerors, Sacred already turned into a dog tag already, all thanks to Glad, as NRX 432 take that hot drop against VVV Conquerors.
Yeah, the challenge of Fracking Tower really is not looking good for the movement of the Conquerors if this continue on. Like, if they have something that happened from the previous round, hopefully it's all over. One being taken down, this is not the survivability that we need to see from the Conquerors. So far, great improvements though from NRX 432. If this continued this on, even with the gap that we've seen on that leaderboard, they can't close it that quickly, taking down the Conquerors, a contender that can put them down and replace them from that spot, or not really replace them, but take them down from that spot. Here comes Black right now. Oh, good rewind just to get away from the shots.
Yeah, and the players of CB1 once again managing to find the players of ABC Anonymous and taking them down one after the other. But from the back, NRX 432 trying to shut down Blank. Blank recovers a little bit of his armor. 432 allow the Conquerors to sneak away without punishing them. But Keys going in for the chase, that's a terrible idea. This is the open lands of Blackout. You need the vehicles on your side. If you chase people on foot, you don't know exactly what sort of a gun setup that they've got on their hands. If they've got a M21 EBR, all they need to do is just turn around, shut you down, bye-bye, back to the lobby you go.
Yeah, if I was the teammates of Keys, I will say, back free, because you don't want to go in there outside in the open.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely these teams need to plan out those approach, and good thing that they are going for the duo, and this is more likely a good plan for them, not solo, because so far survivability is one thing that you need to do, mobility as well. So if you're going to go out with that vehicle, that at least at someone just in case you got knocked down, especially if you're trying to chase down a different team. But chasing down a different team might not be that easy. As we see right now, I think it's CB1 who engaged ABC Mystic from earlier this time, ENE. It is NICAEA Kings right now just crouching all the way. Don't want the footsteps to be heard, AJ.
Yeah, NICAEA Kings playing this very smartly, taking on the ABC Mystic. Early on, brother, CB1 took on ABC Anonymous. So Mystic was always, yeah. So in terms of what they can do in this matchup, nice. We see the players of NASA Vanguard really paying attention to the broadcast and what we are saying. So now they've got two separate jackals flying around in the air, and they've also got two of those players down on that ground. Let's see exactly what they can make the best of in this particular setup. Jew will hack up all four of those players, removing their mini-map, removing all bit of information, but Del Cutie still finds Chelop. Jew trying to recover the situation, but sprays all around, prays, but his prayers not heard by God. Omega finds Rogue, Chelop taken out of the equation. This is a GGWP, ABC Mystic being toasted. They have to back away and play for dog tags, Neptune.
Yeah, not looking good for ABC Mystic, but I love the plan of approach, but not the result. We have ABC Mystic right now. They're not yet out. One more still alive. But from what we've seen earlier, we're just looking at one player from ABC Mystic using or getting that that hack around the ENE or NICAEA Phoenix. But from that moment that hack has been triggered, everyone else just run through. So it's more of a good plan in there, but another plan by AxP is being put into play against this Kings.
Yeah, NICAEA, sorry, not NICAEA. One of the players from the side of NASA Vanguard, I believe Winter, just managed to knock down a player from Vagabonds Nomads. So that's a big knock. And Winter takes Travis out of the equation. That's the GGWP that we're talking about. You go, Winter, best pilot in CODMBR right now. And that's the kind of supremacy we expect out here on the battlefield. But NICAEA Kings, they've been struggling all throughout day number 1 and in day number 2. All of that effort that they've put in has only managed to get them up one level. What more can they bring into the competition? All of a sudden, NICAEA Kings looks like they are ready for battle. Here come the Royal Kings as well. Kings versus Kings. Who will take factory?
And this is what I love about NICAEA Kings. They go in for the challenge. What I don't love is them not surviving. So hopefully this is not a story that we will see similar from the previous one because it's a different map. But Royal Kings right now will put in a little bit of pressure against them. And from what I'm looking, they're still 3 men strong right now. But Royal Kings is slowly moving in. This might be a trap being triggered. But with this trigger will be a takedown by Al against them. And with that switchblade, a little bit too OP with that engagement, even from a distance against an LMG. So what else can NICAEA Kings put into play, especially with how they plan every approach, whether the ones being pushed or the one pushing NICAEA Kings is in here putting out a good showing. Hopefully the same thing happens if they are against the 4 Kings.
If they are against the 4 Kings, who Chalouk now taken down by Winter. Look at this pilot fly around, torture those players. At Blackout, this is where they are going to be able to most knocks. At Blackout, this is where Winter is going to be super effective because it's just open lands. So all you'd have to do is just fly around, tag up players, drop them in the open grounds, and if possible, just swing right back round and take them out of the equation as well. All Winter needs to do is just continue focusing on those plays, and he just needs a backup jackal from another one of his team members, because if they are not as proficient as Winter to take those knocks and kills, then all they can do or all they should do is just hold on to that backup jackal and keep it alive, because sometimes when that so a little bit of acrobatics, a little bit of motorcycle acrobatics coming through from Dre unintentionally, but the guy still survives. It's very rare that you see it flip upside down and the guy don't drop off that bike.
Yeah, I mean, that was expecting, like, being falling off, but no, that is Dre for you. We will have to see Chase right now, together with the rest of the teams, are just hanging back. They don't want, no, my goodness, Vagabonds Nomads just spotting them.
All
and
right.
I think a little bit of rivalry is happening between these two teams, AJ.
Yeah, and Winter getting taken down there. That's going to be a good shot from the side of Vagabonds Nomads. And the rest of the team members now need to find a way to pick this boy right back up. Almighty triggering those traps. Vagabonds Nomads trying to shut them down. Big fight. Almighty Prime versus Vagabonds Nomads. All of them inside of this small little space. Travis opens up the door, knows exactly where they are, manages to spray both of those players down with just the RUS. Fantastic attack.
No attack can be stopped if they go in as a group. And it's now Chibi, the only one remaining. And we've seen this Chiku gameplay, AJ. It's only a matter of time before he is spotted. And if Chibi will not be able to get away from this situation, this might be the end for Almighty Prime. So good thing Esser hasn't spotted him just yet. But knowing this team of Vagabonds Nomads, no one will be able to get away that easily. 3 dog tags on the ground. Almighty Prime really in trouble, and probably Windsor might be flying by taking them out. So pray hard, Chibi, so that you will not be spotted.
Yep, one Chibi manages to go for the prone. Virus takes him out. Almighty Prime eliminated in the 14th spot. No placement points. Barely any kills on the other side. That's a little bit unfortunate. And now, here comes the NICAEA Kings managing to shut down a player from the side of ABC Mystic. That's a big takedown. And the NICAEA Kings, they just have risen up to the occasion in day number 2 after bombing out terribly in day 1, Neptune.
And it's one thing that we'd like to see from the teams when we call them out, especially that they have experience. As I mentioned earlier, the NICAEA Kings are the previous Royal Kings, so they have the experience already for Garena survivors. They should be listening as well as paying attention to all the mistakes as well as what we called out, because not that we're always correct, but at some point we see a different view that the players don't. And that is where most of the teams or some of the teams are making progress because of the comments, constructive criticism as well by fans as well as the casters, even from those coming from within their clan. So hopefully this continues for the NICAEA Kings as well as for AxP Kratos, because we know the firepower and the kills can be bring in by the AxP brand.
I love this, Pixie. Long-range engagement has got the perfect mod, the golden mod for the snipers attached already. I hope that's the golden mod for the snipers because it's a little blurry on my side. Like, yes, it is the golden mod for the sniper. So he's gonna be able to knock them from afar. But as you can see, the movement out of Vagabonds Nomads, perfect to recover a little bit of this situation. They back away using the edge of that hill as the defensive position, and no one can spot them anymore. Frosh pulls out the switchblade, gets a knock. Fantastic play. NICAEA Kings once again running circles around these players, and now AxP Mercenaries, the Mercenaries themselves, about to be assassinated.
Assassination might be done by NICAEA Kings, but that will not be easy. But no, Lexus in there scraping around. Good thing he has a rewind. Frosh right now will not be too frosty, but Fiji is in there still hanging from above. Omega, opportunity for the kill, but the getaway being done. And run, Fiji, run. And here we go, going into the hard point right now, trying to catch in onto those kills for the spawn flip. Omega will try to make this play. Oh, why do we have a vehicle and MP? Oh, I forgot this BR, AJ.
They just want to sneak into this MP map, see if they can play a couple of rounds of SND. That's not going to be possible. You throw the nade, it's going to explode in a couple of seconds. NICAEA Kings, on the other hand, they have done the damage, and now all they need to do is just get away. Omega's just teasing Frosh. It's like, do you want to come in? Do you want to come in? And then he drives right away. And, you know, jokes aside, I feel like the engagements have been absolutely solid for all of the teams so far out there, especially Vagabonds Nomads. 4 Kings, they engaged with the Royal Kings. Deb taken down and out of the equation already, and one of the teams that have been making its way up, Nobles Gaming, they don't have that high ground advantage like Vagabonds Nomads. Strep taken out of the equation. 4Gs on the bike, and it's just a little bit unfortunate because he gets taken down prematurely as that bike tried to go into reverse. It's one of the worst things that you can do out there in the open. What? Virus is unstoppable, man. And does he even have any mods on his AK-47? I really doubt it. This guy, no kickback, no recoil from that AK-47, on fire.
Yeah, Yeah, really on fire indeed. And well, that's Virus from above. This is Rujin that we're looking at. And Noodles Gaming, hopefully this is not the case of getting over their head, because we mentioned that they did well from that previous round. So if they are really too confident and trying to challenge everyone, especially with the approach that they have earlier, AJ. They were in the lower ground and they're spread out a little bit too thin. It's not a good approach for the team to go in against a team just like Nomads. Even if they don't know that it's the Nomads, they shouldn't go that way. So Noodles Gaming with 2 men remaining in this side, hopefully they'll be able to recover. And as the safe zone will be closing in a bit, hopefully there's more time for them to get those dog tags.
Vagabonds Nomads trying to get... Joko! Out of nowhere, shuts down the vehicle of the Conquerors, taking 2 knocks at the very same time. But here comes EPS. Halo down on the ground. They need to get picked right back up. Joko recovers a little bit of his armor. Crayons takes Halo out of the equation because NICAEA Kings, that high ground advantage, they're playing into perfection. Halo, he's been smoked out already, but Crayon still manages to shoot him out of the equation. And NRX 432, they recover that dog tag, and off they go. They back away. NICAEA Kings too powerful at the moment.
So far, BBV Conquerors and all good for them, especially the way they go out like that. But I'm really surprised how the NICAEA Kings is getting a lot of this confidence as well as firepower, going against a lot of teams. Every team that they go against is being pushed back and being pushed away from where they are located. So good playing for NICAEA Kings at this point. NRX 432, on the other hand, they have 8 kills already. Just need to wait for Halo and then go back in track. But with a lot of teams surrounding them, especially HGE, who took a win from the previous round, it might not be that easy, AJ.
Instinct shuts down T.E.A.M from the side of Royal Kings. That battle still going on between the 2 kings, man. And it is not slowing down at all, but NRX 432, as they try to search around. KL is brought in this time round. Instinct takes Deb out of the equation. T.E.A.M down by the circle. Instinct back to back. Deb and T.E.A.M out of the equation, all thanks to him. And Fright goes in for the chase. Alex is down on HP, but don't chase him a little bit too far, because he's leading you directly into the hands of Vagabonds Nomads. Alex, as he turns around, Fright has got the angles to work around with, but Fright is a little bit too far. That AK-47, although has got the ADS mod in there, it's just not enough to take him out of the equation. Academy of Brothers on the approach as well. This is just getting harder by the second. That circle pushing all of them in towards the snowy region, but it's all open lands. The question is, are the players of NASA Vanguard still alive to take advantage of this?
Yeah, we haven't seen any sights of the Vanguards just yet, but as we can see, it's a different approach this time by the 4 Kings. They are taking a high ground this time, and as we look at Pixie, the cheeky gameplay that he did from that outpost earlier, I think it's not working this time because they are being outgunned and outmanned with only 1 member remaining. Noodles Gaming, though they have a good start from the previous round, 1 kill to their name, and after challenge earlier against Nomads, still being challenged in here, taking the same approach and nowhere to turn it around. So hopefully they'll be able to flip it and go for another side. But Travis right now, kill after kill, and it's only 1 remaining. Alex as well as NRX 432 on the other side. So NG is stuck in the middle.
Yeah, Vagabonds Nomads. We talked about this, man. The third eye. It was about to be open, and now it is fully out in the open. They are going in shot after shot. Travis spots 1. Joko gets away. The last time they engaged, Vagabonds Nomads eliminated NRX 432. Joko gets caught out. Amazing reposition done by Virus, and he sneaks right back into the circle thanks to his rewind skill and continues hunting for the rest of the players on that snowboard. Virus now outside of the circle, hits that rewind once again as he makes that mistake in terms of positioning and sorts that out instantaneously. The rest of the players of Vagabonds Nomads, look at how daring they are. They split up there in the open fields, moving one after the other to take those separate engagements because of their confidence, Neptune. Ryujin now knows exactly which corner to anticipate those players from. Hacks them right back up. Let's see exactly what the Nomads have got in store for us here, Neptune.
Yeah, Nomads is now moving in slowly in this game. But to answer your question earlier, we are still seeing NASA Vanguard on the flight. It's just a little bit too far from the rest of this team. But Ezra, they're going for the kill against Eyes, and HGE is now the next target. So I don't think anyone who will be moving against Vagabonds Nomads will be surviving. All sights are on them, and those third eye open. Thus, NRX 432 took that distance. They don't want to be in the crossfire, especially as Glad and Halo are the only two remaining members of this team. They need to split up, not to be shut down that easily in this game, as Jello just roams around in their circles, going circles and making some donuts with this vehicle. So only an FHJ might be pulling him down, but I don't think anyone will bother to take him out that easily and wait for them as the safe zone closes, AJ.
And you know, this was the strategy that we talked about for the players of NASA Vanguard. Look at how perfectly they're playing it up in the air, man. They're just playing those placement points, and you have to use your advantage against the other players. And just like that, instead of struggling with your placement points, now NASA Vanguard has a huge chance to make things happen for themselves. Vagabonds Nomads up top. Glad manages to knock down Niana. Can he continue to string that into a kill as well? The probability is going to be there as A trades Glad right back out. That shotgun too spicy. Esser, high ground advantage through the smoke. You are the smoke bomber. That's the kind of advantage you can take in the final circles. Who gets tagged up as well. Halo right in front of him trying to steal it away, but Halo plays that beautiful structure of that rewind, and he won't be able to get away for the nick of time. But Esser, with the wild sprays, still manages to get one after the other. Vagabonds Nomads, third eye open, 19 kills already, just waiting to take Winter out of the equation. And what did we talk about? The placement points. Winter gets it for NASA Vanguard.
Even with 2 kills only, there's still a chance for them to get another point, but no, it will be given to Vagabonds Nomads to close it up with 20. And there we have it, 30 points for Vagabonds Nomads. If there are no violations, that will stay the same and add up to the points that they have, concreting the lead in there against the 4 Kings Aces, AJ. From what we've seen earlier on the leaderboards, they were all tied up, but not anymore.
No comments. And as we push on forth, it is a fantastic 20 kill round for Nomads, and 10 from the placement, 30 points ripped away. And you just got to ask yourself this question: how does a team bomb out and then return with 20 kills and that #1 spot, and then bomb out again, not be able to play any one of those angles, and then return once again with 25, 30 kills? I don't know what those numbers are. Y'all just got to ask yourself that question, and y'all just got to ask the Nomads what is their secret sauce. But the secret sauce of NASA Vanguard is the fact that they had the Jackal on their side, and they have a boy called Winter. Winter got taken down earlier on. And remember what we said, the role of their team members is to back Winter up. And this time they backed him up good, because Winter got knocked down. He got picked right back up, all thanks to the rest of his team members. And he manages to pull away 6 placement points for the NASA Vanguard squad. 2 points he himself delivers through the kills out of the Jackal, giving the squad 8 points that they could have never picked up without those Jackal plays. Fantastic strategy executed by one of the teams that can use that strategy. Not everyone has got a great control on that Jackal, Neptune.
Yeah, I mean, not everyone really will be able to do that. Even us, we pointed that out already. Even if I have the pilot goggles on.
Wait, what are you talking about? I'm the best pilot in the Call of Duty mobile game, bro. Have you seen me fly the Jackal?
Me. I saw it. I saw the video. You're the best, man. I mean, you're the best. I don't know how can anyone manage to do that with the Jackal.
Don't try it at home. Don't try it at home. That's all I can say. Team 14, NOOBDLES Gaming. Brother, we talked about them. You know, they kind of crashed out yesterday. And what did we ask for? We wanted NOOBDLES Gaming to step it up. We wanted Mercenaries to step it up. All of them really putting up those great fights in here today and showing up when it truly matters to find those important points, right? Yes, it's just 5 points from placements, but it is better than nothing. It's better than sitting down at the very bottom bottom of the overall leaderboard. Elnix gives them 1 kill from 1 kill point, so that's good enough. AxP Kratos, on the other hand, managing to pick up 4 kills, but the 10th spot doesn't give them any placement points. And the Conquerors weren't conquering anything in this round. Just 4 kills overall. 11th place, no placement. No placement for the rest of them from here on forth as well. Mercenaries picking up just 2 points through those kills. And ABC Mystic finds a little bit more of a struggle this time around as well, alongside Almighty Prime, that get absolutely nothing out of this round, Neptune.
I'm really surprised as why this is happening. Conquerors as well as Almighty Prime is just at the bottom of this this post-game breakdown, and I'm expecting it was a fluke from the previous round, but this time there's something happening. There's something different about this. I usually check the patterns, and this is not a good pattern for this team. It might be the break that Vagabonds Nomads has been doing with the kills that they have, as well as the instances that they have been in there on the kill feed, putting both these teams, the Conquerors and Almighty Prime, a little back off in taking or showing up in some of the areas in this map. Thus, not so much in the kills, and when the time happens, they will be taken down. But we'll have to find out. I'll have to check the rotations that they have. Hopefully someone can send me a message from this group to find out, so that I would know, because I can't rest easy, because this is not what Almighty Prime and Conquerors are, especially from what they show us from yesterday.
Yeah, overall, I feel like the only outlier for me is Vagabonds Nomads. Yes, there's inconsistency, but the inconsistency is mind-blowing, bro. You can't bomb out and then hit 30 points in a round. If you're capable of hitting 20 kills, like, look at this, right? Travis just God's vision on his side, just with the RUS, bagging 2 kills back to back. And throughout this whole matchup, Vagabonds Nomads have just been super stellar. You have to remember that they are playing on a tiny little mobile phone, and it's just ridiculous what Vagabonds Nomads is doing out there on the battlefield, no doubt whatsoever. The other teams just need to catch up with them. But Joko, I tell you, the guy with the opportunity earlier on, the one mistake that he did was he tried to shoot the car when it was a little bit too close to him. He got taken down with that explosion as well.
One thing that we need to really appreciate is if NRX 432 can do this comeback from this game, especially on how they did from the first day of this match, other teams can do it as well, and they are showing that. Hopefully it is not just like based on the map, as well as based on their location of the safe zone. It's more of how they plan it out. And with the consistency that being seen from all these teams, NRX 432 has a good chance because they maintain their spot in there on the top 5. But this time, Vagabonds Nomads has concreted their place on the top after tying it against 4 Kings Aces, especially as we saw. It is a total of 30 points just for this round. So it's 160 as a prediction from that previous round.
Yeah, and we will open our third eye as well and try to figure out exactly what is the secret sauce that Nomads as well as Vagabonds Esports have on their side that just keeps getting them these just insane rounds, right? Once again, how they bounce from underperforming to overperforming is just ridiculous. How they can maintain such a flight from not really chugging out much into turning every single opportunity to a simple engagement just like that is just ridiculous. But as we open up our third eye, give us a little bit of time. We're going to take a quick short break. When we come back, it's round number 5 of the day, and that's at Blackout.
New Vision City での重要任務に関する通達を受け取った。行くわよ。
うわ、楽しみ。
行くぞ。 ストヒューマンなの。飛ぶさ。
何やってんだ。
スイッチブレード起動しました。これでも食らえ。注意、移動中です。遅い。そうささやくのよ、私のゴーストは。
立ちこま、援護しろ。その調子だ、立ちこま。お前はよくやってるよ。
でしょ。パートナーさんは分かってるな。
本当のことだ。
アーバントラッカー会いたかったよ。
ニュービジョンシティでの重要任務に関する通達を受け取った。行くわよ。
うわ、楽しみ。
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Garena Survivor Season 2. The legacy that these teams are trying to set up for themselves seems to be a lot of drama mixed into it as well, because we just saw the players of Vagabonds Nomads just saw right back up to that #1 spot miraculously through 20 kills on that battlefield after struggling just a little bit earlier in the day, picking up 10 points through placements as well. A ridiculous round for Vagabonds Nomads, and that has had everybody else scratching their heads wondering what in the world is happening out there in Garena Survivors. I am the Mustachio AJ down here with Neptune the Gentleman Garcia, walking you guys through as the voices behind the scenes through all of these matches, even down to our grand finals that we cannot wait for. 3 back-to-back days of grand finals for Garena Survivors, where all of the top 16 teams will battle it out back-to-back, Neptune.
And we are going into round number 5, and yet We are still seeing only a few teams on top, but especially on the top will be Vagabonds Nomads. As AJ mentioned, like 30 points in total because of how it was tied in there earlier. The lead has just in there grown that much. And if I'm not mistaken, it is around 23 points already. So we are going to see later on the leaderboards, but this is not new to us, AJ. We've seen them with a lot of kills already. Vagabonds Nomads takes a lot of kills in some of the rounds, but together with the placement that they can get from the previous round, really brings them to a different high. So if they continue this on, they might not be overshadowed anymore by the brothers of the Vagabonds Esports.
And Vagabonds Nomads, I feel like, if they continue this type of magic out there on the battlefield, they can even beat Vagabonds Esports if they want, man. There's no doubts whatsoever that Nomads can overtake their brothers themselves. But I don't feel like that is the storyline that the brand wants to set up for themselves. Nomads will have to be the number 2 at the end of the day when they go up against esports themselves. We will have to witness that battle over at the grand finals later on. Four Kings Aces trying to ace their way up to the top. 137 points so far chugged out of this team. 90 slays. 47 placement points. They've got the most placement points in comparison to all of the other teams, thanks to the 4 victories that they have on their side. 2 of those victories came from today, 2 from yesterday. But ones who maintained consistency in day number 1 could not show the same consistency in day number 2. Conquerors are bombing out, but thanks to their supremacy shown yesterday, they're still hanging at the very top here with 131 points, Neptune. But look at who's catching up with their own consistency. NRX 432. We talked about the distance between NRX 432 and the 3rd spot, but little by little, it's being sliced down.
I think it's more of a promise that they did after Garena Survivors won, that they will be bouncing back. And bouncing back indeed. Consistency happening in here, and the re-roster from this team really has made great stride. It's only Clyde who has been the only member from left in this group from the last season. And even with the roster that they've done, a lot of practice and patience, and hopefully a little bit more coming from their brothers of NRX 420 has been imparted towards them so that they can continue the battle with this consistency. But one thing that I'm really surprised we're in, they have been consistent previously on 2nd place, or if not the top, is Almighty Prime. But this time, they are on 5th place, and looking at the scores right now, I think they're just aiming for top 8.
Yeah, and in terms of aiming for the top 8, I feel like that's too low of an ambition. I think they can do a little bit better. What they need to do is focus on finding a different spot, because ABC Mystic needs to realize that, yes, the ones that they were fighting back-to-back yesterday has abandoned that spot, but they've got new contenders who might just be able to win against them. NICAEA Kings are soaring out of nowhere. This was the team that struggled in day number 1. In day number 2, they have found this sort of like mental strength to take these fights, win their gunfights, even torture a team like ABC Mystic. That's going to be a problem for them, but of course not so much of a problem that they cannot deal with. But my eyes are still on NASA Vanguard. They did not play their Jekyll strategy. They lost their positions. Now that they've brought their Jekyll back in, Winter knows to play the game of survival. I believe they'll be able to slowly crawl their way back up. But the rest of the team members need to step up as well, and they need to find some kills. They need to find some slays. They just can't leave all of the work to Winter.
And Winter is doing well already. And as you mentioned, it's just the rest of the teams who need to do some follow-up. So far, if I'm not mistaken, most of the players of Vanguard or NASA Vanguard is not getting kills. And that is not well, especially as you are facing off like top teams within this server. And as you continue on and you're not making those strides, they might not be able to make it once everyone has made an adjustment. And here we go. We have an adjustment, AJ, that has been done. Yupawi, in like apart from getting that getting this Jackal, was able to take down one of the players of Royal as well. So where will they be led at this point? We'll have to find out, AJ, because Lucon will be able to get a 1 for themselves. So a shutdown by this Jackal being held by Yupawi can be good to take one of the Royal Kings and get 1 point.
Yeah, the question is, who's the one in the pilot seat? Is it Pawi or is it Royal Ice? How do we find this out? Because Lukon seems to... Oh, there you go. It is Royal Ice controlling the Jackal. So fantastic plays. Pawi is in here together with Royal Ice, but he has no ability to shut down the one and only Royal Ice at all. Incoming missile, Royal Ice avoids that! But out of nowhere, Ice gets taken out of the equation. Pawi down on the ground as well. Fantastic play. I believe that response was by one of the NASA players as well. The one and only Winter.
Well, we can expect a lot in there from Winter. He is more proficient when it comes to the Jackal, and he given a chance to really take out an enemy together with the teammates, he will take it. He will not let that go. And one thing that's not letting go is the NICAEA Kings right now, who's going in for the fight once again against ABC Mystic. And this is one thing that was itching my brain earlier. It's because why did the NICAEA Kings just suddenly show up in this fight? It's probably because of that potential win against the 4 Kings earlier from the New Vision City that gave them the confidence. And we talked about that. Once you have no fear of the greatest or the greatest team, then you can challenge other teams as well and make do with that with better performance.
And in terms of building up your confidence, that's something that all of the teams need to figure out how to do out there on the battlefield. Factory is, once again, the spot that the players of ABC Mystic want to go ahead and take command of. Earlier on, NICAEA Kings did manage to oust them out of their positions. And hopefully this is something that the Mystic squad will be able to overcome this time around. Winter's still trying to fly around looking for an opportunity to take a couple of kills, leaving Cardell with the responsibility of picking up the dog tags of the other players. And this is what I'm looking for from the rest of the NASA Vanguard team, right? To make sure they leave Winter to the game of survival and to the game of slays, and they just mine their own out there on the battlefield and take care of each other. Cardell now has that opportunity to do exactly that, but he seems to be recovering his armor instead of picking up those dog tags. He needs to fix that immediately. AxP Mercenaries, on the other hand, find HGE, D11 Kratos. Bakhtin takes down Maui. More for the eating in a little bit. Alps tries to spray his way to victory, but he needs to pray a little bit as well because he finds nobody in front of him.
Anyways, one thing that you have a gun in you, and with the start of this game, you only have limited ammo. Now, if you have that trigger stuck, then you're losing your chance to really save up for later. So hopefully Bakhtin will be able to save up because he is the only one remaining for this team. And so far, no one is behind him. No one chasing him. So Bakhtin will still be alive in here, just waiting for a chance or waiting for the teammates to come back. Tito Ming, on the other hand, will not be cautious about wasting any bullets. And Mamart right now missing that chance, and there goes the takedown against AOBA. And Mamart, while he recovers, will be regrouping with the rest of the teammates, and this team of AOB will be falling apart from this fight.
Yeah, that's a more realistic engagement. When you open the door and look for someone inside, you're supposed to not know where the guy is sitting down, right? So Mama had a little bit of panic, anticipated, obviously. But I guess that's what I'm going to say. CB1, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, 3 kills so far. They're hunting for more. Let's see if or not AOB, Aihu, will be able to pick up his brother's dog tag. He's staying hidden away towards the other end of this map, close towards the bridge, hiding away from the other players of CB1, using that dip off that side of the hill as a little bit of cover. And I feel like that is a sound strategy from him. Just play the game of patience and get aggressive later on, only to pick up dog tags and nothing more.
think more definitely will be done so far, especially for the side of back team, because as we mentioned earlier, just waiting for the teammates, and as they go in onto the other side of this bridge, they need to be cautious because some of the players might be waiting, especially for those dropping in this area, and a lot of teams, as mentioned previously, has taken this as their house. It's AOB, and well, different teams has been in here previously, but this time they chose not to. AxP back team right now is just riding along, waiting for the teammates to recover and on their way probably to the next airdrop, because at some point, once you come back from the revive flight, once you don't have anything on you, you can just go and stay with those airdrops, especially if it is a loadout that you can utilize later on.
In terms of utilizing that later on, it looks like Sakura is utilizing it all right now. Royal Kings E.N.A.M eating a couple of bullets out of his sniper. Indra takes Alex. All of this engagement off screen. VVV Conquerors taking the players of Royal Kings to town. We hop on over to that battle, and now they are a little bit interrupted because out of nowhere, Noobles Gaming dropping by to say hello as well. 3 vehicles on for the play. Sakura just taking those shots back to back. Hasn't managed to blow up even a single vehicle just yet, but it doesn't matter. Indra is there with that vehicle as well. They're trying to play this to their best of ability, but not all of those players have got those angles to work around with, and Royal Kings left with a single player left on their side can still make a run for survival, but Dep just needs to be really smart in terms of picking up those dog tags because VVV Conquerors, they are on standby to take them down. That revival flight has been missed, so Dep, even if after Dep collects all of those dog tags, needs to wait quite a while for the rest of the team members to join them right back.
I don't think Noodles Gaming will be letting go of the vehicle gameplay, because if I remember correctly, they're the ones who took advantage of the vehicle and it's the small safe zone on the small circle and got a lot of kills just with the vehicle. So as early as this, probably they're just doing a little bit of warm up the engines just to make sure it's ready to fire later on. But speaking of firing later on, BBB or Conquerors right now, Team Dow Conquerors is now firing back with 7 kills already to their name. I think they heard us and also felt it. Hopefully they felt it, that they have been bombing out so many times already and they need to recover. So this is a good start for the Conquerors as well as ABC Mystic. As they fought earlier, NICAEA Kings, they have been taken down, and as NICAEA Kings has already let go of this area, ABC Mystic has a good chance to fire back. But against AxP Kratos, that might be a long shot because the damage that can be done by this team is really a lot.
A lot of damage indeed, but Pixie, opportunity, Rogue has been tagged up, recovers a little bit off his armor, but only to be knocked right back down by the one and only Pixie. Matoi finds Jew. Back to back, the players of the Mystic squad get taken out of the equation, but here comes E out of nowhere. The players are taking the fight up to the rest of them. Trevor, this is just Delcuti and Frosh. This is that opportunity for them as well. The one and only NICAEA Kings, out of nowhere, they found this improvement in terms of their strategy as well as firepower, and they're taking the fight up to the rest of the teams in day number 2. But overall on the leaderboard, is that showing up just yet? I believe not all that too much. NICAEA Kings still have got so much more to work for, Neptune.
Though they have a good start in there, especially with the kills that they've done, it's more of consistency and not a little bit of a cautiousness, because yes, they have the confidence, they have that, but if they are reckless, they might be taken down early. And so far as we can see, a lot of engagement and aggressiveness coming from this team, it's only translating to 1 kill. So I don't think this is working out for them. Yes, they can put pressure for other teams, but they need to convert. They need to make do and make it show with the numbers, because so far the numbers is not coming up here. And if this continues on, they will just be dying out before the last phase of the safe zone.
And dying out of the last phase of the safe zone isn't really the best of ideas for any team because you've made it all the way up in here already. Why not just squeeze yourself into the final zone as well, right? But this is still the second circle. On to the third. It is still going to hurt towards the fourth circle. We expect it to be out in the open lands. So if you are smart, you will start moving on quick. You will have a vehicle on you. You wouldn't be like Treb traveling on foot. At the moment, the players of NOOBDLES Gaming are super lucky they haven't seen anybody else just yet. But NICAEA Kings engaging out there in the open grounds, and AxP Mercenaries taking the fight to them. Matoy shocking down Omega as he hits him down with those shots. Al taken down by Trevor as well. What is going on? AxP Mercenaries out of nowhere. Frosh, the final player surviving, but I feel like this is all over for the guys.
This is what I'm talking about. I mean, they're too confident, trying to engage everyone, but at some point, they might be taken by surprise with a different team who is a little bit more cautious and on the safe side. And that is AxP. Though they were the ones being gunned down earlier, they planned a good approach against these teams, and NICAEA might be seeing the end of it. Trevor in there. Good slide. It's good enough that he was not spotted in the footsteps of the teammate made as a distraction for this team. Now, AxP right now with 11 kills, and Kratos is doing well. They are the slayers of the AxP team or the AxP brand for this group, and hopefully Mercenaries can do the same because, like, from what we've seen from Group A, a lot of kills has been taken by AxP, and this should be one thing that they can focus on to make bigger of their name.
A bigger way to make a name for themselves potentially might be a dangerous thing to take up on because of what they are doing out there on the battlefield, because it's all the open lands that they are fighting on without a vehicle at all. Almighty Prime now, opportunity. Tito Ming stuck all alone. GB has the angle, tries to work it, but the wrong gun in hand, brother. You've got the Odin mixed up together with Jack, and GB hits that rewind with that sort of a range. You can't do much with this gun setup, Neptune.
It should be Odin in there being used from that distance, but it didn't happen. And well, motorcycles, a getaway will not be done by Tito Ming. Tito Ming will be hiding out in that snow or in that smoke, but with 4 members of Almighty just gunning them out. Hopefully, the rewind class will work for him, or probably pick up with a vehicle by the teams of a CB1. Almighty right now still 0 kills, maintaining the distance, the edge of the safe zone. This is mostly the usual gameplay of this team, and I think they will stick to this until the 4th or 5th safe zone, taking a higher ground, slightly higher ground, and kill them one at a time, especially with Chase in their sniper. So hopefully they were able to get the airdrops for their side so that they can use that later on. But HGE, they have been camping so far. It's working for them, but it's NOOBDLES Gaming. The confidence of this team is still showing, and it is now only 1 member for the side of the opposing team. It's HGE being taken out.
Matoy from afar, Jello shut down. Fantastic play so far. And Jello managed to knock down Maui earlier on, which turns into a kill. So that's going to benefit the players of NOOBDLES Gaming overall. But to pick up his dog tag now, they need to get it done within the next 40 plus seconds, or else it's going to be way too late. Here comes the opponents as well. The one and only AxP Kratos. Opportunity as Almighty Prime surround NOOBDLES Gaming from the other side. NOOBDLES Gaming is trapped, Neptune, and they have to make sure they find some sort of an ingress to get that dog tag back, or else it's gonna be too late. They need each and every single player available for that final circle. Trep flies away. NOOBDLES Gaming has got a plan to execute. Alnix out in the open, hits that rewind in the nick of time as Pixie tags him up. Chase finds Treb. That's gonna be a GG for NOOBDLES Gaming.
GG's indeed,
Cluster.
as we are not seeing any movement from them. AxP missing that cluster against Almighty, but Pixie right now, I think, is just throwing it blind in there, trying to make a lucky Kobe in hand. But so far, AxP is not doing that much from this engagement. But when it comes to kill, imagine AJ, 12 kills already for this team.
12 kills, most definitely great for the players of AxP Kratos, but what more can they deliver in this matchup? I think they have improved tremendously if you compare their performance in day number 1. Almighty Prime, they got shut down a little prematurely earlier on. This time, they're trying to survive, trying to struggle. 1 kill so far. Alnix gets spotted out, but hits that rewind once again to get back right into the house and forces Almighty Prime to back away. Almighty Prime needs to focus on their own defense because they are in the open grounds. They need to follow that circle and find a better spot for engagement, or else it's going to be too late. Those that move last, those that scramble around are usually the biggest losers by the time that final circle appears, and Almighty Prime wanting to be the first ones to the defensive spot instead of the last ones. And who they find? They find the 4 Kings.
The 4 Kings right now taking a little bit slow in this fight. They only have 4 kills, but it's a good play for them because out in the open, they might be caught off guard, especially with a lot of kills already happening. And it's a good thing that they've taken this area because it's on the edge of a safe zone. And they will be seeing the AxP Mercenaries, and not looking good for the AxP Mercenaries. With a trigger, with a trap, that will be a gatekeep. That will be done and waited by the 4 Kings. AxP Kratos, on the other hand, they have been roaming around. They're just hunting and trying to get as much kills as possible. For now, it is working for them. Momard will be spotted, but Chase stalls it against Trevor.
And Almighty Chase, beautiful shutdown. Luraj taken out of the equation as well. Chase from up top. And this is one of the benefits of moving into a own ground for yourself early. And that's the supremacy here shown by Almighty Prime. We were talking about it as they were repositioning before the circle even came hunting down for them. And if you go in and stick to your strategies in that way, just like Almighty Prime, you're going to be one of those teams that slays in that final circle. Fantastic plays. And now, as the circle continues to close on in at the 18th minute mark, everybody's scrambling to find their spots, whereas Almighty Prime, they're just sitting down there picking player after player.
And they just want to chase everyone there and chase them for those kills. Now, AxP right now will just hang back in here and wait for that 47 seconds to expire. Because so far, with this gameplay that we're seeing from them, everyone getting information from all location, this is a most appropriate for this area because there's not much of high ground. And now that they've chosen a middle ground earlier, they can take this ledge and use this as a cover. They also have some of the airdrops, so not so much because I believe they should have already loaded up later on. I think the movement to that edge will be a little bit too careless for them because a lot of teams will be staying in there as well as targeting those small areas as that has been working as a cover, AJ, because in open grounds, this will be a target for a lot of teams.
We Conquerors, they are in the open grounds just like everybody else. But remember what we talked about Almighty Prime earlier on. They continue to pick off players out in the open ground. But now in this final circle, they haven't moved on earlier just yet. And therefore, they struggle just a little bit. They encounter the players of Conquerors. And what a defense. Almighty Prime popping all of that smoke. And they're not going to be spotted. Dre, the smoke farmer, manages to tag up Pixie as well as Trevor. But hasn't found the Slay just yet. Using the edge of this hill as the perfect defensive spot. Dre finds Pixie, knocks him down onto the ground. Needs to recover a little bit of his armor. But gets a double out of nowhere. PvP Conquerors, they conquer this final circle. Trevor's gonna get taken down. But the 4 Kings, they're still alive, Neptune.
They are just hanging back onto the edge, waiting for everyone to start to be knocked down. And knocked down indeed. Blank will be taken down. Sekret will try to fire back, but no one inside. Switching over to AxP, and Matoy will be out. Now, as we see Almighty, VVV, as well as the 4 Kings fight it off. 4 men strong from 2 teams. That is Almighty as well as the 4 Kings. They will just be hiding out right now. Initiating a battle between VVV and Almighty would be ideal for them, and then vulturing out from who is left. That is what will take the win for 4 Kings.
But unfortunately, the 4 Kings cannot try to start that because Almighty is well hidden. Only the circle is going to start pushing all of them in. The circle started moving. VVV tagged up by Almighty, and now VVV switches their attention over to the players of VVV Conquerors, and the Four Kings, as they step out of the compound, should be able to find the Conquerors. Four Kings meet Almighty Prime. VVV take them down. KL, Fright, Four Kings! They managed to bag those players. Fright hits Sekre, and it is the Four Kings with a third victory of the day.
That was a good read, and that was expected because two teams are out in the open. There was no choice that they will not be firing back against each other and waiting for Four Kings to come out. But the moment that those shots starts, Four Kings has a plan to move out and take anyone who is probably knocked down or unexpecting them to move for that approach. And really happy to see that they played that smart and not too aggressive, AJ.
And very believable statistics at the end of the day as well, Neptune, from a team that plays it so carefully towards that final circle. You saw Four Kings and what their focus was on. They wanted to get that #1 spot. They wanted to get that extra 4 points that you get off of that placement in comparison to the second place. And they played it to perfection, managing to pull away 18 points with that 8 kills that they get, as well as the 10 placement. But when you look at VVV Conquerors, they tried to conquer back this round, and they got into that final circle. Open ground strategy, played to perfection, nailing a total of 13 kills and 6 points from placement, 19 overall from this game. Will make sure that they are most definitely one of the conquerors in this particular game that should be able to shoot their way to the top now. But remember, Vagabonds Nomads, they've already done so much in that round, and like I said, how does one hit 20 kills and get that #1 spot and then have that bomb out in the other round? I don't understand, but it's something that needs to be looked into. Almighty Prime, this is what strategy gives you, right? Early rotation, high ground advantage, uses that spot to snipe out player after player, and at the end of the day, managing to pick up 8 kills and the third spot. Fantastic plays by them.
Almighty are showing right now the usual gameplay that we see from them. Chase is the one taking the lead in there for the kills, especially with the sniper, and the rest will follow. It's just unfortunate that they started a little bit too late for this day, so I'm looking forward to how they can try to see and check out what will be happening in the upcoming days and rounds of the semifinals. For Noodles Gaming, I'm really surprised on how they're performing. They are being a little bit too aggressive, probably too aggressive to my liking, because so far they have taken different questionable approach into engagement, going in from, and this is not for this round, this is from the previous round, but going in from the lower ground, trying to challenge those on top head on. And for this battle that we've seen earlier, they just try to chase after a lot of teams, but hopefully this changes and they get their feet on the ground, back on their heels, get back to basic and focus on strategy, AJ.
Focusing on strategy is most definitely what you should be doing out there on the battlefield. And this time around, the strategy of Vagabonds Nomads is extremely clear to me, right? It doesn't matter what your performance is round after round, but when you feel like you've fallen behind the pack a little bit too far, that's when you open up your third eye and just thrash all of the other teams. Make sure you do just enough to get back up to that #1 spot and then rest easy once again. This is the Vagabonds Nomads resting easy in the 13th spot. A little bit of a disappointing performance from them, but it looks a little bit more realistic as to how the team is set up. ABC Mystic, this time round, they don't really climb out so much, only a single point secured from the kill. Royal Kings bombed out early as well, just with the 2 engagements from ICE showing up in terms of points for the team. And EPS down at the bottom, NRX 432, this one. This is a GGWP for the team, man. They totally bombed out this time round. Couldn't really pull much out of the situation at all. Doing even worse than ABC Anonymous themselves.
They broke the promise at this point. I mean, being last in there, it's it's not really what we're asking from them. But one thing that I'm really happy to see is Royal Eyes in there making the kill. If I got it correctly, it was with the Jackal kill that happened earlier.
Yes,
and
correct.
pulling one of the teammates of NASA down with that engagement. It's not really a kill. It was a hit made by Winter, but the kill goes to Royal because they are in control of the Jackal. And the moment that that member turns into the dog tag, it went to the point. The points went to them. So it's no points for NASA, but the effort is good. The gameplay is well, but they need to do it a little bit better. Probably it's more of Winter first to get a Jackal, and then if there's any available, that is when the rest of NASA Vanguard can take a different Jackal for themselves.
Yeah, I agree, right? And it's just a very messy play coming through from NASA Vanguard at the moment. I think by this time we have realized that they should just leave Winter with the Jackal place and everybody else should just focus on supporting him alongside with the vehicles, especially when it comes to Blackout, to drive around and turn all of those knocks into kills. It will be tough to keep up with the Jackal, but they just have to figure out a perfect strategy and balance between all of their players in terms of communication to get that executed well. If they can perfect that play, I think that will be one of the most sound strategies with the current meta that is out there, as well as making good use of that Jackal. Not a lot of players are playing on the Jackal because of how difficult it is to go and control. But if you've overcome all of that difficulty already, you need to take advantage of it ASAP, Neptune.
One thing that I could say really to NASA Vanguard is you already have Winter, who we know that can take or make damage with that Jackal. Information from the other parts of the map where the rest of the teams are not, and then damage and challenge for those the teams are already on, because once you make that knockdown, the conversion can be done by the rest of the teams. And since you have information already as to where the others are, you can relay it to the team. Go ahead and grab a vehicle. Let's go to this area. And then that's where you snowball from that gameplay. And it's more of understanding how to maneuver with the Jackal is what's needed by the rest of the teams of NASA Vanguard.
And in terms of NASA Vanguard, making sure that they can find some of these top spots, you know, it has to be a little bit more consistency. But for me, it just feels like they're still very much in their experimental phase. But, you know, eventually they should be able to find that perfect formula, just like what the Four Kings have done. Look at the number of players just losing their life to that circle towards the very end. But it's the strategy that wins you games, not your mechanical capability. And that is what the Four Kings have proven with this victory in round number 5. Staying hidden away, making sure they do not engage prematurely, finding a good compound that will keep them alive, won't really bring a lot of pressure from that circle, and finally stepping out at the very final moment to snatch away the 10 points. You don't need 20 kills to continue running up the leaderboard. You just need to depend on your own skills and strategy. And that's exactly what makes everybody fall in love with the Four Kings Aces more and more every single day, Neptune.
I'm really loving the way Four Kings and other teams are taking from the pages of the books from the top teams, especially from the previous season. If I remember correctly, on the apartment area, the same thing happened, but instead of hiding out, they just put a little bit of distance. Vagabonds Esports just hang back while the rest of just fighting in the compound. And when the safe zone closes, it was just a firing squad just running towards them like, there's no need to move around. All you have to do is just pray, no need to pray. And that is what Four Kings did at this game.
And let's see what else they will do in the final matchup of the day. Can the Four Kings get 4 wins in day number 2? We will have to wait and see. After a quick short break, the final round of semifinals, day number 5, comes to an end at Blackout.
New Vision City での重要任務に関する通達を受け取った。行くわよ。